I'll say it again. Way too much dancing. You can't dance. There's no dancing in Twilight Imperium.
There's no
it's
dancing
not for that.
It's not allowed. You
Footloose.
will not win your agenda. You'll be shut down if you try to dance.
I mean, Kraken got in trouble for, like, he lost a whole game just because of celebration. You know, like his kids. Do you remember that?
I do.
His kids were like, Daddy's going to win. Daddy's going to win. And I'm sure they were doing a little dance or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he lost the game because
his mic was on and everybody heard it on the other side.
Everybody heard it.
Yeah.
Everybody started being like, wait, what's going on with Kraken? Is Kraken going to win? So, yeah, no dancing in Twilight Imperium.
It's so funny.
Yeah. It's footloose and there's no Kevin Bacon to save us.
Don't count your chickens before they've hatched. Don't dance. Just got to be like poker face.
Yes.
And just strict, like, don't show any emotion, which is why, like, I'm so good at this because I never show any emotion. Which is actually funny because, like, there are certain times where I can restrain myself, but I just choose not to when we're playing this game because it's just a silly and fun time for me. I don't know. Yeah,
we're competitors. I'm realizing you're my rival in the finals.
Hello.
Yeah.
You want to be my buddy?
Didn't even think about that. This is, we could be colluding. I mean, all this like talking that we're doing outside of the game, you know? It didn't even click into my brain. Yeah.
I don't know. You should ask the person who set up the tournament and see if that's okay for us to be talking right now. What do you think? Is that all right?
I think it's okay.
Is it allowed?
I'm going to allow it. Yeah. It's fine. Okay. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah, but I just realized you're my rival. Do you have any predictions for the final game? What do you think's going to happen?
Remember who all's in it again? Do you?
It's me, you.
Yep.
It's Bam Bam. It's Winu William Willard.
Yep. And
Ultra Gainer,
right?
And Dennis.
That was the one I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot. I don't know a lot about Dennis, to be honest with you.
I played a lot with Dennis. Played a lot of Dennis games, so I kind of know Dennis, you know.
Okay.
So that's an advantage for me. One for me on that.
Yeah. You don't want to tell me?
I lost to Will once. I've lost a game to Will. So I'm down 1 on Will. So maybe Will wins for that reason. I feel like you're on a hot streak. That's something that I've noticed about you this year.
I mean,
is that you're on a hot streak?
I've been pretty lucky. I've been pretty lucky when it counts. But it's not. It is funny because I don't know who was pointing it out, but like I guess Ultra Gainer was talking about some game they played before the full release of TE, and I was like, wait a minute, were you a playtester? Were we like over half playtesters in this finals? And it's not quite that bad, but like. Yeah, you were a playtester. I was a playtester. Mm-hmm. Bam Bam was a playtester.
Bam Bam playtester.
I think those are the only ones. I don't think the other 3 were. But it is interesting how it's like 50-50 there. Like the group of playtesters is not that large, but the number of playtesters in the finals here is pretty big.
Yeah. Also, people were calling Bam Bam being in the finals in playtesting. People were saying Bam Bam is really, really good at the game all the way back then. So that's cool that, I don't know, it's just like we've gone so far with the whole like, can you be good at Twilight Imperium thing? And I feel like the finals really prove it, the consistency that people have shown. Like, for example, me, I'm an example. For example, me, because I'm 2-time finalist in a row, 2 years in a row. All right. And this is your 3rd finals, right? Is that right? Yeah. No, it's your 2nd.
Well, 2
it's like your 4th.
2 in Space Cats online, but I don't know if you were counting like the intergalactical finals. Because I did
maybe
that
I was
finals
thinking
also. So
I will count that. So we'll say you're a 3-time finalist. But yeah, they are different. They're different skills.
They're different.
Being good at online and being good at in person are slightly different.
I think
personally, I don't know if I would suffer or if I would do better in person dynamics. I actually feel like I would maybe do better in person than I do online. But maybe, I don't know. I have gotten really used to online specifically. So that's tough to say. But yeah, you excel at both, I think.
It's Well, I mean, I have a good time in both. I think that's what I would say more than anything. Like even like this weekend when I was playing, and I think we'll probably have an episode about that soon. Spoiler, it'll be fun times. But I played with my kiddo in the local group of people in the city where I am, and she actually had a lot of fun. It was her second time playing now.
That's awesome.
And it was a little bit long. Like she was more prepared for it this time because like the first game went long. The one we played yesterday was like, or this weekend was like 13 hours. It was long. Yeah. But she was more prepared for it because of, her prior experience. And then we had but it was a good time. We had a lot of fun. We had a couple of new players in that game, which is part of the reason why it took a little longer than normal there. But yeah, it was fun. And I like getting up to wacky nonsense, and I use that as an opportunity to try some weird barony stuff this weekend, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I'm excited for some deep research here. Yeah. I just want to point out for those of you watching on YouTube in the video, you may notice that my camera angle is a little bit odd. This is not my plan isn't for this to be the case. I'm still very much setting up here in New York. There's a lot of things that are together and working, but I may have lost my webcam. I'm not really sure. So that's why things are this way. That I don't know why this is going to be horrible in the regular podcast, but in the video podcast, it
kind of looks like if you look up at the camera, it kind of looks like you're wishing upon a star. It's like it's Christmas, and Hunter is making a wish for. What will
There's
the
something about my eyes
today?
when I look up that I'm full of wonder, or I don't know. There's something about my eyes from this angle that I do look like a little boy who is wishing. Yeah,
you really nailed it. Merry Letnev. We wish you a Merry Letnev.
Christmas Letnev. Actually, they are kind of. I do feel like they have a bit of a Christmassy vibe with the red and the white. But honestly, he's kind of wearing a Santa Claus garb there. He could be a strange Santa Claus. Regardless, one thing I want to talk about before we get into the episode proper is a little bit of not scuttlebutt, but just kind of like local regular stuff happening in Twilight Imperium content creation. Shut Up and Sit Down made a video about Twilight Imperium generally and their series of videos about the greatest board games of all time. And this is the first Shut Up and Sit Down have really talked about Twilight Imperium since Matt's review of Prophecy of Kings, which of course was negative a bit, although it wasn't a hate. It wasn't like some sort of hate parade or something. It was a very reasonable take that I didn't realize it until hearing him talk in this latest video that he had gotten some flack for. If I've ever given him flack on this show, I just want to say I was always joking. It always sounded funny to me, the idea that Shut Up and Sit Down enjoyed Twilight Imperium and then we made it weird. That's just a funny idea, but that's not how I actually feel.
My take on it is like Shut Up and Sit Down got a lot of people into the game. Like there are many, many people, like when I was first starting, that was one of the videos that people sent to me. And it was like, watch this video if you want to learn this game and play. So like that, to me, it was never like a negative thing. It's like they were still enjoying the game. Just, they had a different take slightly than obviously us weirdos that have like played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games.
And Prophecy of Kings was an expansion made for that audience, which didn't necessarily include Shut Up and Sit Down. And I think that was like actually kind of good insight on their part to recognize that, hey, this is expanding in a way that doesn't really cater to my particular use case for this game. Which personally, even though that's technically a negative review, I kind of took that as like, oh no, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it's great that the game is working for us now. Like, we're in charge, the number perverts of the world have taken control of the destiny of this game. But I just wanted to take, because I just felt from the video, I could sense that maybe Matt had a little bit of feelings of and I'm not like specifically addressing him. I don't know if he's like listening or whatever, but I just want to I inferred from the things he was saying about you all, about the audience, the people that really love Twilight Imperium, that maybe it's worth stating and reiterating that there would be no Space Cast Peace Turtles if not for Shut Up and Sit Down. They did not introduce me and Matt to the game. We had already been playing the game, but their original gameplay video inspired us way before we even started the podcast. We were like, oh, it'd be so cool to make a video like that where we're playing Twilight Imperium and talking about it, and you're getting kind of the reality TV show type stuff, like the confession camps, all these things that they were doing. And then when 4th edition was announced, Matt specifically made a documentary about Twilight Imperium. And that documentary was the thing that made us go like, oh, we should really make some Twilight Imperium stuff. Because when we saw it, we were like, this is really well done. It makes it feel like, Twilight Imperium is this very legitimate thing and it's worth talking about. And watching people talk about it in such a serious manner just was like kind of a kick in the pants a little bit of just like, oh, yeah, we should really take this idea seriously. And from conversations I've had with the junkies, actually, I'm pretty sure they even said it. We recently had the junkies on for episode 450. For the Content Creator Summit. And they also cited the Shut Up and Sit Down video, the old gameplay video of 3rd edition, as being an inspiration for everything that they do. So for, I would say, a lot of the content creators that are in the space talking about Twilight Imperium, Shut Up and Sit Down is an origin point. So we owe a lot to them, and they're very, very cool. And it doesn't, you should be giving them grief about Twilight Imperium related stuff because they built the foundation that you're standing on. You know what I mean? Like, if not for them, none of this is happening. You're not experiencing. Maybe somebody else starts a podcast. That's totally fine. Whatever. And maybe it's a completely different one. Maybe it's better in every single way. I have no idea. But this show, as we know it, would not exist. So I just want to take some time to say that. And Shut Up and Sit Down are the best. They also they talk about the game and they rank it on their games of all time list. And I'm not going to spoil where it ends up, but guys, they like Twilight Imperium a lot. Okay, it's not like they don't like the game. It's just funny thinking that we kind of we made the game freakier basically by playing it wrong, by playing it a way it was never designed for, by thinking about it too much every week. And that's all I ever meant by anything I've ever said on this show or otherwise. Speaking of thinking about Twilight Imperium too much, though, it's guide time. And this week, we're talking about the Barony of Letnev, the punchy, sort of, they're not really, they're like poor, but they care about money. Honestly, their whole vibe is a little bit funky as far as lore. And I have a bit of a bone to pick about them, and we'll just kind of get it out of the way up top. So the older factions, the more Christian T. Peterson factions, they have a bit of a vibe of they're kind of referencing very specific pieces of old science fiction literature, like the Sardak Nor are the bugs from Starship Troopers, just kind of very just similar. Basically plopped in there. Yeah. Yep. And although maybe they're not a hive. I actually don't remember how the Sardak Nor work off the top of my head. But Barony of Letnev is very much based off of the Baron Harkonnen from Dune. And the parallels are maybe they're a little close for my taste personally. They're just so similar. Both the Baron Harkonnen and the Barony of Letnev, their home planets are ruined by pollution and kind of blotted out from over-industrialization. They both have one of them's called Arc Prime, the other's called Gedi Prime. There's also the idea of them being a barony, which a barony is a territory that is lorded over by a baron. Right. In Dune, it makes sense for the Baron Harkonnen to be a baron because he is of low rank that like a baron is a low rank in a hierarchical like structure. Like you have your kings, you have a duke, and then baron would be at the very bottom. In the story of Dune, it makes sense for the Baron Harkonnen to be a low-ranking guy in the court because of all of the hate that there is for the Harkonnen. And it's just because they suck. They're the bad guys. They're evil. So they have this sort of lowly position in the court, which of course is part of why they want their revenge, and they feel they're owed all of these things, etc. But they're also underdogs of a sort. The Barony of Letnev, as far as I could tell, don't have any of that. Like, I'm not sure why they are referred to as a barony, because I'm not sure that there's not the same hierarchical structures in Twilight Imperium as there are in Dune. So that part is just to say the word barony, basically. It's essentially the kingdom of Letnev. And we will, as we talk about the leaders, we'll see that this idea of what a baron means or hierarchy gets kind of disrespected at every turn. So I'm just not really sure why, besides the fact that it's a reference to the Baron Harkonnen, that it's even called a barony, basically.
Yeah, the government on the faction sheet says it's a barony.
Yes.
That's literally what it says.
That's literally it. It's written that way because that's how it is. But technically, it is. You could call it a kingdom. You could call it. We are not going to call it a kingdom because we already have the extra kingdom, right? Yep. So it just feels a little arbitrary. It feels a little too close to the thing that it's referencing in a way that I don't exactly love. But let's get right into it and let's read the sheet. In the very blackness of space lies cold, hard Arc Prime. Its system has no central star, and Arc Prime's lack of defined orbit has been a mystery to scientists for millennia. It is a common jest that Arc Prime is simply afloat in space, and that only the Letnev disdain for the rest of the galaxy protects it from a fatal collision. The Letnev's principal vassal, Ren Terra, shines like a mighty star in the ebon distance, while thorny military ships surround the dark planet like fireflies attracted to a black hole. Foreign visitors to Arc Prime will, under heavy fighter escort, be directed to the Dunlane crater. The crater holds the sprawling city of Farouk, Arc Prime's only city located on the planetary surface. Farouk is a pressurized mesh of icy black metal housing, belching industries, warehouses, and military installations. The thin atmosphere of Arc Prime prohibits normal surface life outside the cold, pressurized facilities of Farouk. Since the barony has no use for the meager atmosphere of Arc Prime, it freely emits unfiltered pollutants from the underground Letnev cities and factories to the surface. A journey to Farouk is likely to leave a thick layer of frozen black residue on any vessel. It is a common merchant endearment to call a ship returning from Arc Prime a chimney sweeper. Under the surface of Arc Prime, actually, this is kind of a funny thing about Twilight Imperium lore, is how often it sort of disrespects the idea that this is some other world. Traditionally science fiction world building involves a lot of jargon. But why do they call it chimney sweepers?
A derogatory term, yeah.
Yeah, but I just mean so we're saying they have chimneys. They have in their past they had chimneys, so they know what a chimney sweep is. I'm not even sure children would understand what you meant by chimney sweeper until they've seen Mary Poppins, of course. I just think that's a funny aspect of Twilight Imperium stuff, that everything gets kind of, it's not as foreign as it could be, Under the surface of Arc Prime, heated by its planetary core, the Baron presides over the proud and fierce Letnev people. Few non-natives have ever visited the capital Goz, fabled City of a Billion, or the other 6 major underground urban centers of Arc Prime. A gray organic plant material called Io, or I'll say AO, by the Letnev, is found everywhere in Arc Prime's underground. It is AO that supplies the oxygen to the enormous cavern networks, and the plant is held in almost religious awe and respect by the Letnev people. Although tens of thousands of moist fungus caves are farmed by an army of intelligent machines, the Letnev's great weakness has always been its shortage of food, liquid, medicines, and essential vitamins. The ancient Lazaks kept the aggressive race in check by maintaining strict control of the Letnev food supplies and trade. Throughout the time of the Lazaks Empire, the Letnev held 2 unsuccessful rebellions against the Imperium. Their history of dissension justified a constant imperial oversight of Arc Prime and its people. The Letnev blockade of the Quan wormhole at the end of the Age of Dusk was started in protest over the Lazaks' sanctions and supervision. It was the Quan conflict that ignited the Twilight Wars and the final downfall of the Empire. After Renterra was annexed by the Letnev during the later years of the Age of Dusk, their colonies here have been primarily occupied with growing and supplying food for the population of Arc Prime. Foreign trade with the Letnev consists mainly of foodstuffs, for which merchants receive metals, weapons, and sharp Simak, strong crystals used in mining operations across the galaxy. The Baron keeps order by maintaining a strict bureaucracy, discipline, and an elitist military culture that brings the strongest and smartest directly under his control. The Pale Letnev despise light and will often wear protective headgear when visiting other worlds with bright sunlight. The legendary Letnev troops are only surpassed in brute strength by the Teklar Nor elite soldiers of distant Kinara. With the new awakening of ambitions among the great races, the resurgence of interstellar commerce, and the recent momentum of the Galactic Council, the Baron has secretly been preparing to lead his people to final dominance. Baron Daz Emisiel Warquan III has only one ambition: to become emperor at any cost. So we're kind of all over the place there, I feel like, theme-wise. They're both highly bureaucratic. They have this problem of they've been oppressed. They were oppressed by the Lazaks. But they also seem kind of evil. I don't know. I've always gotten like kind of an evil vibe. But then you read it, and it's like, oh, man, they were like kind of starved there a little bit.
Right. And then they were protesting at Quan is almost one way you could spin it there. And say, like, you know, that, yes, they started the Twilight Wars, but like because the Lazaks were doing control over their people. So I don't know. It's questionable, to say the least.
Yeah. I definitely feel like maybe the easier interpretation is just that they're Irish and that they have an Irish vibe and a love of the potato, you know, or a dependence on the potato. I mean, I guess to be fair, we are talking about a famine here of sorts. So
it really is. It's so much like it.
Maybe
like
coming back around.
Like that was an old joke on the show for people who haven't been around. Like the Barony of Letnev. That was what Matt used to do.
The Dunlane Reaper.
The Dunlane Reaper. And yeah, like when you read about the famine and stuff, it kind of fits. Like it does kind of sound like they want their potatoes. I don't know.
It seems right. Yeah. I love potatoes, you know, and I've been thinking about them today for some reason. I'm thinking potatoes, you know.
Yeah,
I feel like there's cool. I just feel like I'm near a potato. I don't know. Also, Arc Prime looks like a potato of sorts. Okay, now that we're done with the lore, let's go ahead and take a quick ad break, and then once we get back, we'll get into the stuff that you really like, the mechanical stuff. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the stuff that we're here for. Let's cut into the starting units and tech. So for starting units, we have 1 Dreadnought, 1 Carrier, 1 Destroyer, 1 Fighter, 3 Infantry, and a Space Dock. Decent start. I would love another infantry, I guess, but nothing actually wrong there. For starting tech, we start with anti-mass deflectors, which is one of the blue starting tech, which reads your ships can move into and through asteroid fields. When other players' units use space cannon against your units, apply -1 to the result of each die roll. Don't forget about that -1, okay? Never forget about it, all right? Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes it matters. And then their other one is plasma scoring. When one or more of your units use bombardment or space cannon, one of those units may roll 1 additional die, okay? So we got 1 red, we got 1 blue. Very nice. And we will be very happy about this start now in Thunder's Edge. Although in the past it was sort of not exactly a bummer, but there were all these other distractions that have been simplified. Home system wise, we've got 2 planets, which is generally not good, but Barony is not the type of faction where this is actually an issue. The first planet is called Arc Prime. It is a 4-resource, 0-influence planet. And the flavor text reads, below the thin surface atmosphere lie the continent-sized caverns of the Letnev, rich in metals and energy. Its vast fungus fields struggle to feed its population. The second planet is called Renterra, 2-resource, 1-influence planet. And the flavor text reads, arid, windy, and populated primarily by predatory Dartar hounds. The barony utilizes large swaths of its northern steppes for low-yield agriculture. It's the food planet, y'all. They are a 2-commodity faction. Oh, well, also, just to talk a little bit about it, 6 resources at home is the most resources at home. So we are a most
It's the
thing.
most.
Yes. Yeah. It's the most in the game. And we used to say, and I don't know who knows if we'll say it today, but the thing we used to say in episodes past was, oh, you could double tech round 1.
Sure.
If you wanted.
You've got the 6 resources to just do it.
They're right there.
They're right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can just take tech and boom, 2 techs appear.
Who knows if that's what we'll say today, but I mean, I just want to say that's what we've said in the past, for sure.
I want to highlight and ask is for you as well, too. Granted, 2 planet versus 1 planet, we'd almost always rather have 1 planet to defend at home rather than 2 planets. But of the 2 planet home systems, do we think this is the best one?
Ooh, yes. I
think it's the best of the 2 planet home systems. It's not quite as good as, being a single planet on most of them, though.
It's good considering the rest of the kit, but on its own, like for TF, I would rather have more influence at home, though. So technically, I think value-wise, doesn't the Jolnar has a 3 influence?
Yeah, so Jolnar's got like a 1, 2, and a 2, 3. There's a couple, Yssarl's got that as well, too.
Yeah.
So they're more influence heavy.
Those are cool, but then those factions, that's considered, I mean, it's a weaker part of the faction. The fact that it has a 2
because you can't make as much stuff.
Yes. So that part is kind of tricky. I guess I'll just say for the Barony, they're the best. With everything else that's considered, it makes the most sense. These days, wind slaying is like less important, so it's like, does it even matter anymore? I'm not even
also
sure.
Very fair. Yeah.
We're just not getting around to it these days. There's so much other stuff to do besides try to stop your friend from winning. Commodity wise, we have 2. We're a poor faction, which is sad, especially considering our faction abilities. The first one is called Munitions Reserves. At the start of each round of space combat, you may spend 2 trade goods. You may re-roll any number of your dice during that combat round. So let's define some terms here. Dice only means combat rolls, no unit abilities. So you can't re-roll AFB or space cannon or bombardment. None of that. Only your regular, we're in combat, it's time to roll dice for the ships type stuff. And that also applies to, we're going to talk about the promissory note. It also applies with that. There are other...
And it's also only once per round of combat that you can use this ability. And that's kind of a theme that's going to come up for Barony a few times here, where it's like, you can't use the same ability in the same window. You could use it again on like the second round of combat, but like the first round, you can only use it the one time.
Right. Yeah, you can't. Well, wait. I'm actually a little confused. So if you use munitions, let's say it's first round of combat, You use munitions reserves.
Yep.
You re-roll your dice. You have more trade goods left over. Are you saying once you hit that second round, you can't use munitions reserves again?
If it's if it's still the first round of combat, like your first time that you're rolling dice against your opponent and you've re-rolled, you can't do the re-roll again.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
When you
you've missed the window.
Because it's like you can only use the one ability once per window.
I see what you're saying.
The once per window is kind of the thing, and it's weird, and that's why I brought it up even because like you can use it on the round 2, but like you have to go all the way through taking your hits on round 1. Then round 2, you can be like, okay, I can choose to use it again with whatever's left.
Right. Yeah. It's I think in the hypothetical that you're posing there, it's like imagine
you have to have a lot of money.
Yeah. Imagine you have a lot of money. And you're like at the start of the round, you're like, I want to load up on munition reserves over and over so that I can re-roll many, many times. It doesn't work like that. Right. But you could use munition reserves every round of combat.
Yes.
It's just it would have to be at the start of the round. And also, by the way, you're not gonna have enough money.
You're not. It's not going to come up very often. It's just niche stuff for weirdos because we're weirdos.
Yes, we're weirdos. Yeah. Their second ability is a lot more straightforward. It's called Armada. The maximum number of non-fighter ships you can have in each system is equal to 2 more than the number of tokens in your fleet pool. This means, of course, that you can have 0 tokens in your fleet pool, and you still can have up to 2 ships in each system. That's, very common for Barony players to take more tokens than usual out of your fleet pool due to this ability, which is great. It helps us have a better round 2 than we would, and we probably need that help.
Okay. There's some weird stuff. So most of the time, like, you care about your fleet pool. If you lose all your ships, bad things happen. If you can get by on just 2 ships per system, which is the Barony Armada ability.
Yeah.
And you're down to 0 tokens. You actually have a few weird opportunities that come up that if you don't have any fleet pool, you don't get punished. Because like if there's an ability in the game that says lose a fleet token, but you don't have a fleet token to lose, you don't get any penalty. You don't care. You're immune to it, right?
Yep.
So there's a few fun ones. There's like research grant reallocation. So this one is an agenda. It says you get a tech. A lot of times people will choose to get, you lose a fleet pool for every prerequisite that's on the tech.
Yes. So if it's level 0, you lose nothing. 1, you lose 1, 2, and then 3.
Exactly. And most of the time people take that and they're like, I'm just going to get a level 0 because I don't want to lose a fleet pool. But if you're Barony and you get that, you might be able to get like X89.
Yes.
Because you don't have any fleet pool to lose, and like it doesn't matter to you. So like it won't come up real often, but it's a fun thing when it does happen, and you should definitely look for that opportunity.
Yes.
There's some other weird ones like fleet regulations. You can still score like 5 in fleet, even if everybody's limited to 4 because you get 4 plus the 2 more, right?
Right.
Armed forces standardization is a little better for us because that's the one that says your tokens go back to 332.
332. Yeah.
Yep. And if you've taken all your tokens out, you're just gaining tokens, right? Clandestine operations. So that's another one that sucks. Like the 4 side of it, no one likes it. The 4 side says everybody loses 2 tokens, period. The against side says you lose 1 from your fleet pool.
Yeah.
But if you're Barony, you might not have to lose it, right?
Right. I actually have a detour in your detour because I've thought about this before, which is that I've kind of always wanted, and this is, as far as I know, this has never happened, but I've always wanted clandestine operations to come out and make it so that a player went into a round with no tokens on their command sheet. I've never seen it, but it's the only way to make that happen.
Force somebody to have 0 tokens. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the only player that it's really feasible, it would be Barony because they're the ones that are most likely to have 0 tokens in their
true.
Fleet pool.
That's true. They do tend to get pretty low on tokens a lot of games. Yeah.
So I've always wanted to see that. I just think that would be so funny. Obviously, that player's not having a good time. but I just think that would be fun and that would be great.
I
guess the only other situation would be like if you're playing shipless Sardak. I guess that's kind of it.
That could be a zero situation, maybe.
Yeah. That would just be funny.
The last one I had was Neuroglaive, because it makes you lose fleet pool. But if you can get by with just 2 ships everywhere, then it doesn't bother you. It doesn't stop you at all. So
yeah. Ironically, I will say the whole like armada aspect of the faction, I kind of wasn't feeling it too much in the POK era. But this breakthrough that we're going to talk about is so well written. I think it might be one of the best designed components that Dane has ever done, because it just brings in all of these other things into the faction. Like there are a lot of abilities that I like, but are not necessarily like as thematic, or they feel a little bit like, okay, well, this is important. It helps the faction mechanically. I don't know how much I stand by it, like kind of feeding into the big overall thing. But the Barony breakthrough, it makes old components feel important again.
Absolutely.
In a way that I really like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they needed it too. But yeah, let's talk Flagship. It's a pretty good one. It's the Arc Secundus. It is a cost 8, combat 2 on a 5, movement 1, capacity 3. It has sustained damage. It has bombardment 3 on a 5, so that's not bad. And then the ability is other players' units in this system lose planetary shield. At the start of each space combat round, repair this ship. So it's one of the better ones as far as the fighting goes.
Yep.
And I dare say it maybe it has a little more potential than it used to because of the breakthrough. Although I don't know that I actually played around with it at all. I didn't quite have the money for that. It is funny that it used to be, we were all afraid of the direct hit issue with this way back in base game. But now, I'm never thinking about direct hit. It'll come out, it'll ruin my day, but I'm not going to factor that into my life.
Yeah. Well, there's more cards now, and also there's more ways to filter draws. And like direct hits, oftentimes one of the ones people get rid of because it's lower value on average. So it's. I agree. If you have your flagship out, just use it. Just dare them to have the direct hit, and if they do, that's a bummer. But it's such a good ability that wins so many combats. If they don't, that you just got to do it.
Yeah. Especially, I never got it to work out, but I always wanted to get the flagship to sticks. And in my research games, I never achieved that. But it's very doable, and that'll make sense as we go. But let's talk about the Mech, the Dunlane Reaper. It is a cost 2, combat 6, sustained damage, regular mech with the deploy ability, which is at the start of a round of ground combat, you may spend 2 resources to replace one of your infantry in that combat with 1 mech. Now, this is potentially very cool because if you have a lot of infantry and resources on hand, which you might, especially if you have a bunch of mechs.
Resources,
then this could potentially happen many times, even in a sort of silly recycling of mechs type way. But you always have to have an infantry to replace with. And we're not really going to make that happen that often. But it is a cool possibility of sort of mech juggling. You could technically get 6, or you could get many, many mechs in one combat if you had the infantry for it.
It's true. Yep. Sometimes it makes sense to actually kill a mech early so that you can turn an infantry into a mech and get additional HP and other stuff, other bonuses that we'll talk about later. And this one, similar to what we talked about earlier, it's once per timing window.
One use.
So start of combat, you get to do 1 mech. Second round of combat, you get to do 1 mech, and so on and so on.
Yeah. That's very important because you shouldn't be playing thinking, oh, I have 8 resources, I can just pop all of my mechs out. Also, it's important to note that deploy is not the most flexible word in the Twilight Imperium language. Deploy means that there's no scuttling for deploy. The mech must be in reinforcements.
Right.
This actually leads to this sort of unfortunate situation where sometimes as Barony, I'm like hesitant to figure out what I want to do with this ability, if I want to use it at all, because mechs are also just good. And if you build them on your own and use them where you want them to be, sometimes it's like, do I even need to deploy or care about this? You know? But if you do leave at least one in reinforcements, it's kind of fun, the idea that this mech could end up being anywhere. And I think back in the day, we used to talk about this component as if it had some sort of like reflexive, sort of defensive stance type situation. Like it could actually be a deterrent is kind of what I'm saying. But nowadays, I don't know. It didn't really pan out to be, I think, the most important.
I think you said it right, though. I like having like one in reinforcement so that in a pinch, I can go make a mech someplace. And the other 3 you can put out on the board and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, just normal style. The promissory note is called War Funding. This was in Omega from long ago. I don't even remember what the original promissory note was. But the current one, the one you should be playing with, reads, after you and your opponent roll dice during space combat, you may re-roll all of your opponent's dice. You may re-roll any number of your dice, then return this card to the Letnev player. There's no exception for the Barony in this. This could be played on you, which is, I think, it's always funny to kind of cite those.
Use it against them. Yeah.
Yeah. Use it against them. I think it's actually a pretty good card. It's kind of tricky to sell. And generally you want to sell it in the window that it is happening. So it is after the roll. So you see a roll and then you say, hey, I've got war funding, etc. You know?
So like a lot of the combat ones, it's tricky because like if you're the defender, you can't use it because you're not the active player to make a trade with Barony.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do it on defense. So if you're thinking you want to use it on defense, you have to trade it for it ahead of time, which is tricky. Like maybe you pay him $1 and just say, hey, I just want to hold on to it or something. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
The other thing would be like, since it is a traded component, you can do it more than once in a combat, but you'd have to like have it in your possession before the round starts. Go fight somebody somewhere, use it on that first round of combat, and then do a trade to get it for a second round. Yeah. But then that second round is like that's it. You can only do one trade with the player, so you're kind of hard capped there.
And honestly, what's tricky about it is the fact that you re-roll all of your opponent's dice, not just the hits, makes it so that sometimes people regret buying it. Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
It kind of depends on the roll, I guess. Like, what are we talking? A lot of fighters? Was it above expected value?
Right.
And, dice are mean. They're not nice. They were made by the devil. So therefore,
is that what they taught you in Arkansas?
They taught me that in Arkansas. We learned that in school. The dice were made by the devil. So therefore, oh my God, the expected value on this is so crazy. I'll just have you re-roll that, and they re-roll it, and it's worse, because
sometimes
that's possible. How it works sometimes. Yep. The seventh player, they decide, they go there. Faction tech, we've got 2. One of them is the biggest underdog of all time. It's L4 Disruptors. I still don't know what they were thinking when this got written, but it is a level 1 yellow tech. So you need to have 1 yellow to research it. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to be recommending any yellow be researched, not a single one. So you won't even qualify for this, but even if for some reason you do, the ability is during an invasion, space units cannot use, during an invasion, units cannot use space cannon against your units. What was going on? What was going through their heads that they thought that this was a good idea?
Not only is it so limited for space cannon, but it's also it's like when you're coming in for the space combat, they can fire in space.
Yes.
It's only the part where they're taking their ground force, like they won the space combat somehow through the space cannon. Now they're going down to the planet and trying to land their forces. that's the part where you don't get to use space cannon, but that's like the only thing. And so like, how many hits do people get on that on average? Like one, maybe.
Yeah.
Like how much are we really saving here? That is not worth a technology.
Yeah. Honestly, if there is a single bit from this show and this community that is lodged into my brain so much is where I forget where it came from, is that there was one tournament game kind of early in the Space Cats online tournament stuff where somebody researched L4 disruptors, and the chat just found it so, of course, chat is always, you're too judgy, and then you miss stuff anyways, so you're like incompetent, but you're judging the players so much, and they're just trying to play to have a good time, and you're over here thinking it's esports, and meanwhile when it's your turn to play, like you're just kind of fumbling around. So it's a lot of imposters. However, the thing that I remember is my instinct in a situation like that, especially if y'all are going so hard, is to just defend the person. So there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about he just likes it, which was...
He just likes it.
And
he just thinks it's neat.
He just likes it is the thing. And I don't even remember who it was that did that. But honestly, whoever it was, I really appreciate you for just having... Because that's the only time I've ever seen it. Even researched. And I don't even think it got used. It didn't... The window to use it is so specific. And if you're not planning on using it, it will not get used incidentally. You know what I mean? So therefore, it's just kind of nothing. Would like, love an Omega on it, to be honest.
Faction tech secret. That's the only time.
That's it. That's the only one. That's the only one. The other one, though, really makes up for it. It's non-Euclidean. I'm saying it right.
Yeah, non-Euclidean shielding.
I kept repeating it as if I messed. Anyways, non-Euclidean shielding, which is a level 2 red tech, so it requires 2 red, and it's when one of your units use sustained damage, cancel 2 hits instead of 1. Okay, so that's our dreadnoughts. That's our flagship, which, if you remember, it repairs itself, and then that's our mechs, baby. Also, if we get Metalli Void shielding, maybe we're doing it to a dang destroyer or something,
Oh,
Who knows?
It's real good with that. Another fun one that I like with this is the cavalry, because you can give sustain to a ship because you turn it into their flagship, and then now it has non-Euclidean shielding, and like cavalry for you with this is actually really like cavalry in general is I feel by our community undervalued and not appreciated for how good it is. Yeah. But especially really for good. Like Barony in particular with NES, it's crazy good. You're going to win most combats where you use that.
HP wins fights. Like we say it over and over, and it's HP on a stick. It's like that's so important, because generally, especially early in the game, people always complain like, oh, well, if Nomad hasn't upgraded the flagship, then it's not very good or whatever, and as if that even matters. But really the point is that early on, like the HP is what makes the difference. And so therefore, if it's a skirmish that's going to be decided by you being up 1 HP, then it's worth it. Also, it's good to win combats. Like, I don't know. And generally you only get in combats that you can win. So go to Nomad and say, hey, I need to bump up my HP so that we actually make this happen over here.
We also got to shout out Duranium armor here. A little bit.
Yeah, it's not a faction tech, but it is. It sort of is.
It sort of is. Like, if you have non-Euclidean shielding, now all of your sustains get crazy good, and being able to repair them starts to look more appealing. Like, in our tech overview, we dogged on Duranium armor a lot, but this is one where it's actually a high point, and if you get non-Euclidean shielding, now Duranium actually looks pretty good.
Yes. It makes a big difference as far as your HP. Also, maybe you can understand why we were talking about like juggling the mech deploy for this reason. Like, it might be worth it. Let's say you've already sustained a mech and took out 2. Well, now just kill the mech and get a new one, and it can sustain another 2.
And it can sustain another 2. Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
It's definitely worth it. Okay, it's time. Let's talk about that breakthrough, baby. It is Gravleash maneuvers. All right. It's a blue-red synergy. Color-wise, Oh my God, could not be better. It's just perfect, magnifique. So we haven't even gotten to the ability yet. I'm already like, incredible. This is exactly what we needed.
We're the hype boys. We're here to hype up the Harkonnen. Barony.
But the ability is before. It's funny. It leads with the wrong ability. It should be written backwards. That's actually my own critique. But before you roll dice during space combat, apply +X to the results of one of your ship's rolls, where X is the number of ship types you have in the combat. So this is weird. Ship types meaning we've got dreadnoughts, we've got carriers, we've got destroyers, cruisers, etc.
Fighters.
Fighters are a ship type.
War Suns.
Yeah. War Suns are a ship
Flagship,
type.
yeah.
You're going to have all these types. So they're going to happen. You're going to get them all, baby. It's going to happen. I promise. But yeah, then you do +X to the result of just one ship. So it could be that it's making a War Sun. One of the War Sun dice are for sure hitting. Honestly, you could get to the same way with like a dreadnought, really, if you're being ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it's good. Don't forget, if you're playing online, if you're playing on TTPG, don't forget to use this because it is automated. There's incredible automation by Daryl. You can actually right-click the breakthrough itself and choose what ship you want to do it for. So it'll have you choose the type of the ship that you want to do it, and then it will just add that to one of the rolls of that ship type. Very, very cool. But that's not even the most important part. Honestly, we could forget about that first part.
I mean, that part's pretty good.
It's good. I'm not saying it sucks, but I'm saying what really matters is what I'm about to say, which is during movement, your non-fighter ship's move values are equal to the highest move value amongst moving ships in the system they started in. Okay? So what does that mean? Let's break it down. So let's say we have a fleet. It's one carrier, one dreadnought, and a destroyer. Let's say that. In fact, that's your starting fleet. So this is perfect to say. With Gravleash, our movement for the entire fleet would be 2 because the destroyer can move 2. Now, not only that, it could be that we research gravity drive, in which case we would have a +1 bonus movement. And let's say when we move, we say, okay, I'm going to use gravity drive on the destroyer. Now the destroyer can move 3, which means the whole fleet can move 3, right? Now,
from that system.
What you got to remember, too, is that we all have to be together, though. So your fleets have to be escorted by, a lot of times it ends up being destroyers for me, but by a ship that has higher movement in order for them all to get the benefit. So it has to be in the system that they started in all together as one big fleet. But this can get ridiculous really fast. I mean, so Destroyer 2, or Destroyer with gravity drive, with like Ionian, that's 4 now. Okay. Let's go ahead and throw in an Aether Stream. Now we're at 5. Flank speed, now we're at 6. You know what I mean? And at Crucible, now we're at 7 or 8. We could be at 8 off that. Let's say 8.
Yeah.
And that's all your ships. All the ships that are all together. They're all going. 8. Yeah. So it's very, very good. It's built for the game. It's built for the game we're playing, which is a movement game. All right. And it lets you ignore a lot of stuff. I mean, it lets you say, it's funny that, the go-to is to explain how gravity drive works with it. Because to be honest, one of the strengths of this is that we can wait. I mean, there's no rush for gravity drive. Where do you got to go that you need to move more than 2 anyways, going into round 2?
And that's absolutely true. So in the order of things, like we've talked about breakthroughs for plenty of factions now, and like how important is it? And like, so we've talked about researching tech, building plastic, scoring points, getting to breakthrough. Those are kind of the 4 main things you're trying to do round 1, right?
Yes.
And in the hierarchy, this is one of the exceptions for me, where I am willing to concede if I have to choose between breakthrough and technology, this is more important because the movement that you will get from this ability for all of your units in every system is worth it compared to gravity drive on one ship. So like the things that you'll be able to do because of your destroyers bringing things around everywhere is more important than what gravity drive would do for you. You still are going to want gravity drive because it's excellent. And as of now, that's a ruling thing that might change later once we have.
I guess technically, yeah. But Dane has said straight up that that's how he wants it to work. Yeah. I would be pretty mad if he changed that one. This isn't like the Ralnell thing where no one has actually gotten Dane to sit down and explain
on this one. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to point out a couple of things on this breakthrough in particular. I got some errata early. This is actually from my buddy On the Wind, who's played a decent amount of Barony. So talking about the combat dice part of it, right?
Yeah.
And so what's the logic that you use, or that he suggests that you use? And I agree with this, by the way. So first thing is you determine if you're going to be using munitions reserves for the ability.
Right. Which is important.
If you're not going to use munition reserves, then your primary choice for Gravleash bonus combat should go to the unit that has the most dice. Okay. Most dice could be your Flagship because it has 2 dice. Could be War Sons because those have multiple dice.
Mm-hmm.
Could also be like Last Bastion giving you a galvanized unit. Okay.
Yeah.
So any of those units that have extra dice, it's best to put the bonus on that first because you're going to get multiple dice that have a better shot to get a hit.
We also have an agent that is going to give us an additional die for a ship that we choose.
Yes. So and you'll want to use that on whichever one of these ships you're choosing. You'll use the agent there. Absolutely.
Big time.
So that's the first question. If you're using munitions reserves, he's suggesting that you use Gravleash to the ship with the worst hit chance. Meaning, like if you brought a carrier along that only hits on a 9, then you improve that to give it plus, 5 or whatever is the number you're giving it. So that way, in case you do miss, like the chances that you'll get a hit the second time is super high, right? So it's like almost guaranteed a hit thing. And so that's the basic idea is like if it normally hits on a 5, then your base chance to hit there with Gravleash would be like at 84%, improving to a 99% kind of thing with munitions reserves. But if you're doing it on a 9, it improves by 0.39% delta. So it's a bigger improvement in your chance to hit on the one ship that hits on a 9 versus hits on a 5. And I am sure we are going to get errata on this.
Sure. Yeah.
People, the number perverts are going to come out, and there's going to be a huge debate on this.
Actually, you're incorrectly. That's not quite how the statistics shake out.
But at a high level, it makes sense to me that most dice you want to have improved first. And if you don't have something where the most dice matters, then you choose the ship that hits the worst to improve.
Yeah. I got my own take on this. Okay. And I just want to throw it out here, which is if you're using it, it's helping. How about that? If you're using it, it's helping you do better than if you didn't use it. So I think perhaps whenever we go into the zone of trying to figure out what is the best way to use it,
optimal use,
maybe we're kind of apples and oranging a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't quite actually make a difference. I mean, like, it makes a difference, right? The math don't lie. It does probably make a difference. But I would say that that's where we've entered my cutoff zone where I don't get paid enough to care.
It doesn't matter
about the differences. Yes. As long as you're using it on something, it's helping you. And I would say that perhaps the differences between approaches might be so negligible and also not respectful enough to the magic of dice. Because remember, they were made by the devil. So don't show up to a magic fight with an abacus. You know what I mean? Cast
you
your
can't
spell.
bring a calculator to a magic fight.
Yes,
come on, Hunter.
Yes, just cast a spell. You know what? Next time, don't stress on like, oh, which ship should I choose? Which one are you feeling right now? You know what I mean? Like, use your heart. Your heart is going to tell you something that your brain can't. And maybe the brain is not very important for this one. Because to be honest, this was something that like the chat we talked about this a lot in chat. Every time, I did 3 research games as I always do. That's the Hunter Donaldson guarantee right there. And it felt like every time this came up, like at first I was really playing along with it. And I was like, yeah, I really feel like I'm making a choice here. And just by the end of it, I was like, I just don't know. I don't know that there's much of a difference. And it's really kind of just, it's one of those things where at the end of the day, you're going to roll the dice and the dice are going to do stuff. And
dice don't lie.
Yeah. And what you want is to have a better shot, but there's no guarantees. So like,
there's no guarantee.
If I play morale boost, it gives me a +1 to everything. It doesn't give me guaranteed hits.
That's right.
It just gives me a better shot. So I treat it more like morale boost, where it's just like, well, what am I going to like try to figure out? Well, I want to play morale boost on the combat where it can give me the most possible. No. You play morale boost when it's a combat that you need a little extra hits on, where it seems
a combat that matters.
Critical. Yeah. You don't go like, I want to make sure that I bring the correct amount of fighters so that I can end up getting X amount of value out of this morale boost to maximize my possible output.
Is that what our listeners sound like, Hunter? is that the average Twilight Imperium Space Cats enjoyer?
I have exercised enormous restraint in never doing this voice. This is episode 463, and I've never characterized you guys this way. I've been so respectful for 463 weeks, and then I just happened to.
The gloves finally came off.
Suddenly it popped into my brain, and I was like, "How have I not been doing this the whole time?" I mean, that's incredible that I have not.
I do have a couple more things here on the breakthrough. Yes. So you've already mentioned that it's one ship that carries other ships along. I don't think this is going to happen very often, but on the weird chance that maybe you have a fighter 2 that has a base 2 movement, so you actually could use like a fighter 2 that could like tugboat other ships around that are your other capacity ships.
Yes,
and bring them along with it, and then like check capacity at the end of movement, sort of thing. So
yeah.
Kind of a weird thing, but it can come up. Another thing that came up for me was Emilpar. So I'm bringing it up here because, a lot of times for the breakthroughs, you got to spend resources or influence or whatever. And so with that really strong home system we've got, I think we've got kind of a good opportunity. If Emilpar's near us, it could even be like 2 spaces away. We can spend the 6 resources or 5, however we end up doing it.
Yes.
To get our breakthrough. Now we have movement. Now we can go 2 spaces away to take Emilpar. Now we get those 4 resources back when we refresh it with the ability. And now we can spend those resources regular style for tech or plastic or whatever you were going to do with it. So if you've got it nearby, like in the equidistant or next to home or whatever, I think it's a very high priority that you should aim for it. The 2 influence is cool, but it's mostly about this. I pay for my breakthrough this way by just getting the Emilpar ability. And that's true for a lot of factions, but especially for Barony, who have a strong high resource home system and lots of mobility to go and grab it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very good. It's incredible. It's like Psychospore as far as how important it is for the faction. So we are going to be getting it.
Here's the real question, Hunter.
Yes.
Let's say you're in a game where round 1 you've gotten leadership as your strat card. That's just what happened.
I don't like that I did that, but
let's just say that's what happened. That's where the chips landed. Are you willing to ditch your secret if that's what it takes to get this breakthrough?
I think so, but I don't know why didn't I take Imperial? Okay. That's what I'm asking. If it's round 1 and I got leadership, why didn't I just instead say, no, I'm going to take Imperial? Because you're describing a situation. Yeah, go ahead.
I've actually been in that situation very recently, in fact.
Yeah.
So my situation was someone else took Imperial and I took leadership.
Oh.
And because they had the thought that you had, where it's like they were last pick. In my situation, they were L1. And they didn't want to feed the table with like Diplo or whatever for whatever reason. So they were like, I just want to take Imperial and get my breakthrough that way.
Yeah.
But what they didn't account for is, since I had leadership, I just ditched my secret right away. I gave myself an extra token, which I then just drew from Imperial whenever it popped.
So this was a situation where, well, then it's kind of easy to know what to do. I mean, what you did was perfect, but I didn't imagine that Imperial was in play. Because if Imperial's there, then what you're describing is incredible.
Let's say it's not there. Yeah. Right, because the only reason I said that is because you counterpointed of, hey, maybe you should just take Imperial instead. But let's just say Imperial's not in play. You took leadership. It's 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, that kind of thing. So there's no 2, no 8, that sort of thing.
No 2, no 8. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's tough because the way the system works is I can never really be deprived in this way because diplomacy for us is also a turn 1 situation where we get our breakthrough because we can spend our home system and then just pop Diplo and be like, okay, we did it.
We can.
Yeah.
We could always just say, we'll just take Diplo instead. Yep.
Yep. I think that actually what it is, and what this question is, I think, kind of demonstrating, is that you have, more so than most, you have so many ways to get your breakthrough. And I guess my answer to your question is, no matter what, it's like my first thing. It's on top of your desk of all the work that you got to do in order to win this game. It's Gravleash maneuvers, and you're not playing without it. No go. We're not doing that because that is just playing a worse version of the faction, basically, in every way.
We saw that faction. That was POK Barony. It was not a good faction.
Not good faction. One of the worst.
One of the worst.
Yeah.
Legitimately. Yeah.
Yeah. So for that reason, I would say we're getting into this. We're getting it. And, it doesn't matter whatever strategy card I have, I'm doing whatever's necessary. And hopefully recovering from it. Hopefully it just means that round 2 will be a little slow. But I would rather do suboptimal stuff in order to make it so that I have Gravleash. But you are right that it is a humorous thing that if somebody tries to take Imperial and do that route, you can kind of sneak it from them by taking the wood. So that's important to remember. There's a weird arms race that could start with breakthroughs, which I feel like it's brewing a little bit.
People are still figuring it out.
Yeah.
We're all still figuring it out.
We're all still figuring it out. But it definitely feels like we could get there, where the round 1 strategy picks are almost entirely revolving around unlocking breakthroughs. And that's kind of their whole reason to exist. And there's nothing else. In which case, it's going to get weird. It's going to get weird with Imperial round 1.
True. In some games, that's true.
Let's talk about that leader suite. We got, up first, we got the agent, which is, we've already talked about it a little bit because it's important with Gravleash. It's Viscount Unlin, the Dunlane Scourge. Right. I wrote Scrooge. I typed Scourge wrong, and I've written it's not quite Scrooge. I guess it'd be pronounced Scrooge.
I mean, we already talked about the Christmas faction, right? This is just Scrooge coming in here, ruining your day. You thought you were going to get presents with your deal on the other side, but Scrooge comes in and says, you'll roll an extra dice and you'll like it, and you might actually hit your buddy, and then you're going to ruin your whole deal.
The poor Cratchits. They don't even get a single die, and Scrooge is over there with 2 die, basically. Scrooge. I'm gonna read I'll read the flavor text. We'll use one of my fun new thingies over here. Let's go.
With the sky Ooh, I can't adjust it. So if you can't understand this, then that's, I don't know. The Alliance carrier has struck her colors, the Master Gunner reported. Shall we switch fire to their destroyers? Unland smiled cruelly and leaned over his warship's command pulpit. No, bring all guns to bear on that carrier. I want it dead.
All right, so that kind of, you maybe understood some of that. The ability is at the start of a space combat round. You may exhaust this card, and to choose one ship in the active system, that ship rolls 1 additional die during this combat round. Gravleash stacks on top of that. As part of the genius of Gravleash, that it connects to multiple components, okay?
Yeah.
Some of them base games, some of them Prophecy of Kings. This is why, like, really, if we break this down, Dane did a really good job on this.
It is
component.
very good. Yeah, yes. For sure.
It's very well written. And I really like the way that it is connecting to multiple things from multiple editions of the game, which they don't all do that. There are a lot that are just they're not playing off of all of these other aspects of the faction. But this one does. And I like, because I've never really liked the Barony agent. It's nice that because of Gravleash, we get a little bit of extra oomph.
Little extra gas for ourselves. Yeah, if you use it for yourself, basically, my thinking is whichever unit has the best hit chance after applying Gravleash, that's the one that I'm going to give the agent to.
Yes.
So it's not always going to be the one that you gave Gravleash to.
Yeah.
It could be like your Dreadnought still hits better, and you'll give it to the Dreadnought agent, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But
you went with trying to make overall, like, to have the higher hit chance overall, basically.
Exactly.
Also, I wanted to mention that a Viscount is ranked higher than a Baron in the hierarchy of.
Perfect.
So mechanically, we've got some good writing here. Lore-wise, we are just we are not making any sense. It's as if these words, it's like CTP treated these words, and I guess actually Viscount, though, that's not CTP. That's a later mistake. It's like we're treating these words like they don't have meanings, no definitions to them, but you can just look it up. Who's ranked higher, a Viscount or a Barony? It was a quick search, and the Baron's the lowest, y'all. So I don't really understand what we're doing here. Commander is up next. This Commander is, I would say, a bit of a source of... this Commander is where we get the most, hey, I did this. Here's something I did, and it's like, that should be illegal. Like, it's just stuff that shouldn't exist, really. And it seems so innocent. It seems like the Commander doesn't sound like it would be this, like, gateway to unimaginable wealth disparity. But it is. It really is.
No, it's true. It's true.
It's he's called Rear Admiral Farron. He's actually the guy on the sheet, which I think is funny. They're not always the commander. But he is a sector, what is that, 18, sector 18 Viceroy. Viceroy also ranks higher than a barony, or than a baron. And I'm not even going to do a voice for the flavor text. The flavor text is: the sight of a fleet of our warships, line abreast and guns out, states our demands more clearly than 1,000 diplomats. The unlock is have 5 non-fighter ships in one system, which you'd think would be easy peasy, but actually it's kind of frustrating because we like to take those fleet tokens out because that's just kind of how we do it around here. So sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to have 5 ships in one system yet. So it takes a little while to unlock sometimes. But the ability is, after one of your units uses sustained damage, you may gain 1 trade good.
Yep.
So this is, in most games, not going to make you rich, but if you are creative and you're playing at a table of people, and this is not judgmental, but if you're sitting at a table with a bunch of people wearing clown shoes, then you can perhaps gain hundreds of trade goods with this component. So there you go. I read one just today that was about the Imperium flagship.
Yep.
So it's Imperium flagship, and then the Barony is in a fight next to it with their flagship, fighting the Nomad, which has 2 dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
So they can't get more than 2 hits.
Yeah.
And the Barony flagship is the Barony flagship repairs automatically.
It does.
The Imperium flagship is repairing the Nomad ships.
Yep.
So that they continue to fight and generate lots and lots of cash.
And Nomad can have their mechs in space as well that are not fighting, but they can help sustain to keep the money train rolling as well. Yeah.
Just absolute.
Or, just do it with Imperium, right? They can repair as well.
Yeah, you don't have to involve anybody else. You could just have it just be the Imperium flagship versus, you'd have to have a little bit of extra HP out there because the Barony flagship could get 2 hits, right?
But you got to have a little extra. So, I think it's duraniums on all of these situations we're talking about.
Yes.
Just to keep the train going. But
you don't have to do the version of this where you make 400 trade goods. You could still do a version of this where, because of luck, you end up making 15 trade goods.
Sure.
And that's still an awful lot of trade goods.
That's a stage 2 objective.
Yeah.
That is literally a stage 2 objective that comes out and you can just score it. So that's kind of my bright line is 16 trade goods is the number. And you can do that kind of, I don't want to say easy, but you can definitely do it with a little creativity. Nomad was part of it. Imperium. Necro's the one a lot of people have talked about before because they can copy NES. So I have NES, they have NES. We have the alliance together. We both have Duranium. We just go on for a long time. So there's all that nonsense. It is worth pointing out, since it's 1 trade good at a time, it is subject to pillage. So if Mentech is in the game, this is not going to happen.
Right.
Unless Mentech allows it to happen and then you share
because
money.
They're part of it. Yeah.
They're part of the infinite money glitch. We all get $50 or whatever deal you've split up, right? That kind of thing. So
it's just so funny. It's so funny because it doesn't sound like that big of a deal off top. And most games, don't get confused, listener. It's not a big deal. Most games, this is not going to make you a whole lot of money. But with the right group, it will.
Right. Most games, you're going to have sustain on your mech, sustain on the, Nomad Promissory, the Metali Void shielding, and your regular ships. And those are the things that are going to matter most of the time. And over the course of the game, with especially the mechs, you'll probably make $8 to $10. That's probably the right ballpark.
Right.
Something around there. It depends on how much you're fighting. But this thing about making infinite money for the uninitiated, it's you have to have a combat where theoretically you can kill each other.
Right.
But it's just very unlikely that it will happen because my HP is equal to yours, my sustain is equal to yours, but I have 1 extra fighter or something. Right.
Right.
And then you keep going and going, and eventually you would lose the combat, and eventually the train stops. But before that happens, you'll have sustained, 50 to 100 times or whatever, and made a bunch of money on both sides. So
I will say, I think at some point, did Dane? Am I crazy? Didn't Dane at some point rule though that if you start a combat where there's potentially no winner, you have to stop? You can't do it. Yeah.
So if it's impossible to win, you have to stop.
Yeah.
But if it's possible, just incredibly unlikely,
then you can.
Then you keep going. So that's the fine line difference, and we're not going to set up the situation for it. But that's,
I would say actually our Imperium example is illegal by that definition, though, because due to the way the players are playing the ability, it would never stop. But
you need money, right? To do it.
You do need money, but you're guaranteed to generate more money than you would need, right? Well, I guess technically no.
Doesn't it cost 2 to repair?
Yeah, it does cost 2.
And you sustain for 1.
Yeah.
So it's mathematically possible that you get unlucky and don't have enough sustains for all of those things. So it's weird. I don't want to rules lawyer it, but like there's like it is possible to do this and make a bunch of money where you just keep sustaining.
I'm going to be honest, though. If you pulled up into the tournament and you had that situation and you were playing it out, then I would probably stop you if there was enough money in circulation between the three of you to give you so much wiggle room on it that that it's no longer like, because like, yes, technically it's like if it's like a 1% chance for the combat to end, like if you have 100 trade goods in circulation between the three of you, then how bad would your luck have to be in order for this combat to basically not just continue forever? You know, like it would have to be incredibly bad luck after a certain point. I fear that in discussing this so much, we've just doomed ourselves to seeing like
there'll be a few more people that are going to try it. They've heard this. They're like, huh, that sounds fun. I'm going to go do that with my buddies next time we play. I'm going to go make 100 trade goods.
Yeah. Between the three of us, and we're just going to ruin the rest of the other. So it's going to be the three of us. We get to have fun forever. And our other three friends, they do not have fun. They get no
watch.
Fun now. Yeah. They just watch. Yeah. Feel free to take a break. But yeah, that's the commander. The hero is a bit of a stinker, but it's Dark Talon Treyla, the Void Revenant. The unlock is normal, have 3 scored objectives. And the flavor text is, the void is not simply nothingness. The Imperium have known this for millennia. Is it any wonder that the greatest Letnev minds have discovered this too? It's funny that they mention Imperium in the flavor text after what we just said. It's almost like Dane was predicting the connection.
They knew it.
The hero ability is called Dark Matter Affinity, Void Transference, and it reads: action, place this card near the game board. The number of non-fighter ships you can have in systems is not limited by laws or by the number of command tokens in your fleet pool during this game round. At the end of that game round, purge this card. So what's fun, again, this kind of goes back to Gravleash a little bit, because generally speaking, this was a stall for me. I would almost never do anything with this. Right. But now I play this and actually end up overstuffing my fleets because I'm just trying to get more ship types in there. I don't even really care what these ships are doing necessarily. It's just like every time I get another ship type in there, it's like, oh, it made Gravleash a little bit better, and that's kind of fun. I like that it at least, and it's still not huge. It doesn't feel like a proper hero, right? Like it doesn't feel like it's really helping me out that much, but it's not nothing either, which is cool.
All right, it's story time, Hunter.
Yeah, let's do it.
So in my most recent game, I used this hero in round 4.
Yes.
And you're absolutely right with the breakthrough. You can move so many ships into a single system that you can get some really scary force projection. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the game where I was playing, I chose a moment because I'm generally a pretty nice player, boat floating and all that kind of stuff. But this was one where like I didn't get a support swap. Nobody wanted to swap with me because I was running ahead, and Speaker was way over on the other side. It was never going to get Imperial again. There's bad stuff that was happening, and so I looked at one of the leaders and I saw, because of Gravleash, and actually this was a really weird game because I had like cool tech skips. I got Cruiser 2.
Ooh, I love
Gravity
Cruiser 2.
Drive.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so now,
sick.
Now my fleets can move 4.
Easy peasy.
Okay.
They start at 4. Okay, let's be clear. They start at 4.
They start at 4. Correct. So my home system fleet could go directly from my home system to the Titan's home system. It could go directly to the L1 home system. It could almost reach Jolnar's home system. These were all 3 of the players that were ahead of me in speaker order that had worked out their little round 4, round 5 thing. So I actually used it to extort the Titans player first. And I'm like, I can do this. They understood. They saw how many ships I could bring there.
Right.
And I'm like, if you give me all your money, which was like 6 or 7 trade goods, then I will move on and I will leave you alone, do something else. They paid it. And then I moved on to the L1 player. Now their position wasn't quite as strong, but I could kick their fleets out as well too, because they had like locked their stuff down and weren't at home. They ended up giving me cybernetics and a couple bucks as well, or maybe it was just cybernetics to leave them alone. And then I went to Jolnar, who was the speaker at this point, and I said, Jolnar, okay, the only thing you can give me that's going to stop me at this point is your support, like a one-way support here.
Wow.
Or else I'm going to go to your home. And they're like, well, you don't have Lightwave. And I'm like, that's true. I showed them my master plan. I'm like, I'm going to go here and I'm going to kill this system. And then my home system fleet's going to go to your home system and I'm going to take it with this master plan. So they ended up not going through and paying that. They actually paid their support to someone else to sabotage me. But that was a cool thing that I got to do because of the Barony Hero. And because I had so many ships at home that I had built off of like Warfare Secondary.
Right.
And I also had another big fleet over in the Lethe fracture system. I had like a War Sun and a bunch of destroyers over there too. So like all of these ships could converge onto someone's home system to do it. Right. So so that's something that, because I did it in round 4 and used my leverage there, it's an option. And for our bloodthirsty players out there, like that's, to me, kind of a way that you can use leverage and violence in this game to get something out of it.
Right.
But it only made sense and it only mattered because they were ahead of me and they had lots of stuff.
I think in order to make this hero work as like a late game play, you need to make sure that you're always keeping like a destroyer with every fleet. Regardless of, like each separate fleet should have that 2 movement,
the tugboat
sort of situation, so that if there is some sort of place for you to go late game, that all these different fleets, which are, disparate, because it's not like you've had this ability the whole time, so you've been sending them out in respect of fleet pool, so that they can converge. So they all need to be able to have like 2 movement, or, I mean, I guess if you had this Cruiser 2 situation,
it was weird.
Cruiser escort. I mean, it's crazy for a bunch of different fleets to have 3 movement. That's wild.
Yes. So like that's a choice, and like, yeah, exactly. Have a tugboat at every system and you can make weird things happen with that hero.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
And like the stage 2 for 8 ships is a thing, but like that almost never happens.
But if it does happen, you have that advantage.
If it happens, cool. You can do it.
Yeah. You can plop down get every single destroyer out of the bag, all of your cruisers out of the bag. That's the thing, is you start thinking about it in weird terms of just like, I can just, destroyers are cheap. I may as well have every single one of them on the board in my home system right now, or, same thing for cruisers. And that's good HP. You start thinking about, cruisers as you would think about, fighters. Let's talk about drafting. Let's talk about map stuff. What do we want to think about whenever we are in a multi-draft situation or in a tournament draft situation and we're planning on playing Barony, or I guess you don't really plan to play Barony, but like if you're late in the order, you're like, okay, I've got a few options here. I think the thing that you need to look out for is you have no influence at home.
Let's actually push. I'm going to push on that a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because my view on Barony now has changed enough to where I don't just see them as a, end of the draft pick anymore. In POK era, like if you've only played POK and you're not used to Thunder's Edge yet, you might think of them as one of the worst factions. They're not there because of everything we've talked about. They're now at least in the middle of the pack.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I think they're a little better than the middle, but they're in that range either way.
Yeah.
And so like this is a faction where I would expect them to be picked somewhere in like the first 6 picks in a lot of drafts. Because there's probably a couple of other factions that are better than Barony, but they're probably like in most drafts, like probably like the 3rd best faction at the table. And I'm prioritizing faction a lot of times. So I think they're kind of around that range for me.
Yeah. I think that, generally speaking, if we're just kind of like making up like a pool, they're probably going to be one where your expectation is that maybe you get to make like one choice before you pick them up. And it's probably, that first pick person, they probably picked a different faction. They probably didn't first pick Barony unless it was like, again, we could build a pool where Barony would be first pick because it's not, they are definitely better than 5 other factions. So we can make that pool pretty easily. Sure. But I just want to point out that one of their issues is not having any influence in the home system.
Absolutely
means
agree.
If we're playing them from a slice with very little influence, like I would say they're probably a 6 influence minimum type situation. Yes. Other factions that have more commodities can play in worse slices. We're a 2 commodity faction, no influence at home. So that will always be sort of an issue for us. And playing Barony where you don't have tokens, you have all this force projection. We were just talking about a ridiculous scenario for it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the tokens to go anywhere or to stay in the game because you're being stalled out, then it doesn't matter how strong you are,
Yeah, completely agree.
If anything, I would play a Barony slice where I didn't have any resources and it was all influence because I'd be like, listen, I've got 6 resources at home,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
You definitely could.
Yeah. So yeah, I dig that. Tech skip wise, what's ironic, and this is a little, kind of ruining a little bit of the tech scenario, we don't even really need skips anymore. We can kind of get to like most of the tech that we want with one big exception. That we don't really have an easy answer for. But most of the tech that we would want, we can get to just off of the synergy from the breakthrough, basically. Yep. So as far as thinking about any tech specs, we just have a general desire to have one in our slice because they're important, because that's how you get the Ingress tokens. So like get one, but it doesn't really matter like what color it is. Maybe it matters like you look at the pool and you figure out like, well, yellow is the most likely to pop.
Yellow and green are popular. I want yellow and green.
Yes. So maybe in that way, it's kind of great. If for some reason you get, there is that one planet that is a double green skip.
Yeah.
That one's got our name on it, brother. Yeah. If we can get that, then we're pretty excited, actually.
Or the one that has the yellow and the red. That's cool for a couple reasons because, number one, we are a decent Warsun faction.
Right.
But number two, it gives us multiple things that we can hit for the Ingress token. So like that one system has a good chance of getting an Ingress token.
Getting something going on there. Yeah, I dig that. That makes sense. But yeah, and we're basically talking about X89 with that. It's just like X89 has become so mainstream that the factions that don't get X89 access, it is going to be considered a ding against them. It's going to be considered like you can't get to X89. That's now like a problem, which is awesome, by the way. It's very cool that this is where we're at.
I agree.
X89 is considered like a core tech that if you do not get, then that's bad and you should have it. Which, I mean, what a wild swing. Things have really changed in that way. Yeah, so I mean, if you can get some cool green skip type situation, that might be awesome. I will say that I want to start talking about counter pick type situation stuff in these guides. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil a little bit later. I want to talk about, it's pretty obvious, but if Crimson is in your faction pool, that's a problem because Crimson has abilities that essentially turn off, I would say, most of your advantage, really. Like, because if NES is an important aspect of like us having more of us dominating the sky, right? Like maybe we're not that great at ground combat, but we have all these advantages that are like, well, space combat, we should be good at that. And then if Crimson is basically saying, well, no, because my flagship is going to be in the right system so that you can't do it at Mechatol Rex, you can't do it at Styx, then suddenly it's kind of a bummer. And it's annoying that Crimson can turn it off for us in all situations. It's not like they get to just use it against us. Like everybody's like, well, yeah, I guess
if somebody fights us, suddenly, we've been cut off. Yeah.
Cut off from our thing. So that is a little bit of an issue. As far as strengths go, at this point, I feel like, ironically, with you here, JJ, I'm not saying this specifically to like bait you, but we're like kind of one of the most tech independent factions right now, as far as like the amount of tech we need in order to like do well in the game is absurdly low. I mean, it's it's almost like it's not this, because we may as well get tech. We may as well improve our chances of doing well. But after you get the breakthrough, sometimes it's just like, yo, I mean, if I'm just getting where I need to go faster than anybody, do I even care about tech? It's such a strong component that gives us all of these beautiful options. Now, don't get me wrong. Is life better with gravity drive? Is life better with non-Euclidean shielding? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it does feel a little bit like once you get the BT, you're like, okay, I'm getting a lot done that I need to get done right now.
It is,
which is cool.
I will concede that is more transformational to your faction than any single technology would be. So
yes,
if the decision is breakthrough versus tech, I would agree that I'm going to go breakthrough first.
Right.
That being said, I think there are a lot of techs that we can utilize very well.
Yes.
More is great. There are many of them that us in particular leverage better than even other factions, because we have either easy access to it or good reasons for it mechanically.
Mm-hmm. It's a strength that we have such a versatile kit based off of one component.
Yes.
That's and
true.
Then as far as like problems, we've sort of already led with this, but because we don't have green synergy, it means that with the mainstreamification of X89, we are a little bit weak on the ground. Like X89 generates more hits than than NES compensates with sustained damage, right?
Yeah. They're like, NES helps offset one of those hits that got doubled, but like, yeah, it's not pretty. You're not winning those combats if they have X89 and you don't, generally speaking.
Yeah.
It helps though, but it's not enough.
Right. My rule of thumb for the late game is that we would actually rather get there before those people. And we actually have the movement to do it. We have the movement to go a little bit faster than not every faction, but a lot of factions. We can possibly jump into the fracture before they would get there. And then our other problem is a classic problem, which is that we have a bad economy. Our tradables are kind of questionable. I know we talked at length about the sustained damage, infinite money glitch stuff. That's not going to come up in most games. That's kind of it, though. Yeah. So we're not that good at making money, which is okay. I mean, every faction should have a downside, and ours is that we're kind of cash poor with a lot of random components that are like spend money, which is kind of a funny aspect of it. But you can find ways to make money, and maybe we just take trade a little more often than not. That's like, I think, a good answer to it. Taking leadership in the mid game is possibly a good answer to it.
I'll shout out the bloodthirsty warmongers in our fan club, because if you enjoy that sort of extortion play, aggressive play, this is one of the factions where you can be rewarded for doing that.
The logic is there.
The logic is there because it's pretty easy. You don't need to have a lot of tech. You'll have a lot of plastic. You'll have good mobility and combat.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, you have that force projection. You could go and threaten someone early if you wanted to, or late game, whatever. And those are some places where you can apply some leverage and do some extortion to get some things you want. So this is one of the factions where you can do that. It's not just about money.
Yeah. I think that's 1,000,000,000% on it. And there's very few factions that actually can, I think, live out that dream. So when you're playing Barony, like, you should role play, get a little Irish with it. You know what I mean? Luck of the Irish. Always, it's like, I'm feeling Irish today. And then that's when it's
listen,
Barony time.
my people are hungry.
Yes.
You've got potatoes. I want your potatoes.
Yeah. The luck of the Letnev. We'll never let it down. Because, I mean, what else could they be referencing with that? I just don't really understand. Strategy cards and early game. Let's talk about this. This is quickly becoming the get your breakthrough hour of the show. Whenever we just talk about how are you going to get your breakthrough? How much should you prioritize it? I'm going to go in order, starting with leadership. We're going to talk about priority stuff, and we might have some differing opinions here. I personally, with leadership, I kind of rank that pretty low as far as early game considerations go. We can take tokens out of our fleet pool for a little bit of a round 2 boost to our token economy. We are token hungry, but leadership only guarantees us our breakthrough if there is if we're throwing our secret in the garbage,
right?
Which is our least preferable one. I mean, I guess the other one would be our home system.
Exactly. So, because we have 6 resources at the start, if you take leadership and someone else took Diplo, you could just do whatever on your first turn, pop leadership, whatever. You spend your home system to get your breakthrough,
right?
And then you just count on one of your tokens going to Diplo, and then that's how you end up paying back and getting your plastic and stuff. So it's possible. You can make it work.
Yeah. I would say what I don't like about both of those, though, is in the secret one, like, well, what if we drew a good secret? You know, like, what if we're sitting there with an action phase secret, and then we got to throw it away and then draw a new one, and maybe it's worse. Maybe it's better. I don't know. I mean, that could go either way. With diplomacy, to go into the round with no resources available means we're saying maybe we're passing on tech secondary, we're passing on warfare secondary, and we have 3 infantry at home to start with. So if I say we might be passing on warfare secondary. We most likely are passing on warfare secondary. So we're not getting any additional infantry. So we have Gravleash. We could go anywhere. So again, it's going to come down to, do you have like Emilpar? Are there like some juicy options for you off of having Gravleash immediately, basically? So yeah, it's dependent on those things.
I agree with you. It's below average overall. In spite of the tokens that we want, round 1, there are probably other ones that we would put above it. For me, in the vacuum, this is maybe like around the 4th or 5th pick for me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk diplomacy, because I'll say personally, and maybe this is just a difference of like just the way we're thinking about it, because I like controlling the timing, I think, a little more. I would rather, instead of having leadership and following diplomacy, I would rather be the person with diplomacy so that I can play it exactly when I want it, So I could, instead of spending all this at home, I could follow tech, let's say, or follow warfare and spend the 4 and the 2. And then expand out to a tech spec planet, play diplomacy, flip my green skip or whatever it is that I got, use that to get the breakthrough. And then also my second refresh is my 4 resources at home, which is pretty solid.
Which is good.
About as good as it gets.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll say I prefer that. I would say Diplo is like not the highest priority for me. In fact, it might be, of the most obvious ones, it might be my lowest in preference. But it's, especially if I'm last pick and for some reason nobody's picked Diplo, which is getting kind of rarer, I feel like all the time.
That's a little more rare. Yeah.
Yeah. But if that happens, then I'm happy. I'm good with that.
Sure.
Yeah. Politics, I would say super high. We're a blue start faction with Gravleash, so we're gonna toss our action cards in the trash.
Yeah.
We also have anti-mass, so there's not like obvious systems that could be in between us and Mechatol Rex. Like, we're a likely first action, second round Custodians taker.
Yes.
And even without that, because of Gravleash and our agent, we're also sort of Titans-esque in our ability to take Mechatol Rex after the player that's gone in.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
We can be around 2 Imperial faction. Yes,
for sure. Big time. I would say like maybe actually one of our only rival, well, besides SAR, like the obvious one, but besides SAR, I would say actually one of the only people I'd be worried about would be Titans, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, we're like kind of opposites in that way. Like I feel like what Barony has going into the round 2 Mechatol Rex fight is dice that are upgraded. And then what Titans has is sustained damage. So it's like, who knows who wins in that. Hopefully you make a deal though. You know, you've got your commander right there. Let's just make some money. You know, that's what you should do.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think we're a decent Custodians round 2 person. Construction is next. I would rank this pretty low. Obviously, this is not helping us get our breakthrough, not directly anyways. However, there is, I think, a world where construction actually helps you be the round 1 Custodians player. It's kind of a Christmas land situation. But because Gravleash plus Gravity Drive is so much movement from home, that production that you're getting off of the construction primary play, if we can find the things that we need, if we can find, you know, if we've got a Cohen Jolier and there's a Diplo player, if there's Aaron Amir, you know, we can possibly use this to be the guy, basically. In that world, though, we probably had to throw away our secret objective for the danged old breakthrough, which I don't love, but it's a thing. It's a thing you could do. Also, I will say the double dock home system, it's a good deal. It's a great deal. It sucks when you get bit for it from the 3 structures outside of home system objective, but that's just one objective in the deck. You know, you only live once. You gotta roll the dice sometimes.
No, I agree, Hunter. If I'm in a position where I'm taking construction, unless that objective is face up on the table, I'm going to double dock home. I'm going to try to go 10 production capacity and make a ton of fighters and infantry.
So many fighters. Yeah. And I know I didn't bring it up before when we were kind of doing our tech preview, but we've got Carrier 2 written all over us, baby.
Yes, we do.
We love it. We love it. Yeah. Trade is next. This is probably my top, I would say, pick, because we get the breakthrough. We probably helps us score, probably helps us do kind of all of the things that we want to do, get some unlock class. Yeah. We get everything done. It also still, we're still very possibly in the round 1 Custodians world with a trade pick. Yeah, very possible. All it takes is Diplo, and Diplo is always happening, right? In fact, honestly, I'm getting surprised. This is like kind of a PSA. I think people are sleeping on round 1 Custodians for a lot of factions lately. And I want y'all to stop, because I think y'all are making me worse at the game, because I should be getting punished. I've been in a lot of situations where I'm taking politics and I'm taking Custodians round 2, where I don't think I should get it, frankly, where I'm like, I shouldn't have this, but they're letting me get away with it, so I'm getting it. I think more people have opportunities for Custodians round 1, but they're just not. They're not taking. They're not taking the chance, basically. And I think they should. And I think Barony is one player that could be doing that. The fact that Diplomacy is now so commonly picked round 1 should always be enabling more players to make a Custodians play. It's just a natural result.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, trade's good. Trade's real good for them because they want money. They need money. Warfare, I also like, because even though it doesn't get us the breakthrough, it's important to remember that blue start factions, our options after tech can get kind of wild with this. I'm not even necessarily talking about Gravleash with that. I'm saying like, with Gravity Drive, just going somewhere with Warfare, and then this is like maybe the only opening strategy where I will maybe not rush for the breakthrough. Let's say you kind of get going, you get the vibe that maybe this group they're not all going to be racing for the breakthrough. You have the breakthrough, round 2 off top if you want with your home system. You know what I mean? Maybe in that situation, you're just like, all right, I'm just going to fully expand in an aggressive way and just use Gravity Drive to get me there. Like your positioning is maybe not my favorite because you probably didn't send. Well, no, you just send a destroyer with it. You just say, I'm sending a destroyer with my carrier. That's it. And now you've done it,
Yeah. The main thing is like, it's still the same hey, warfare is going to leave the center of our slice open or wherever it is that
sure.
you warfare it away from. I would say I'm going to push back a little, only because if I'm in a last pick situation where it's like construction versus warfare versus Imperial, I'm just going to take construction, I think, in that spot, because the double dock thing is cool. And like, because of our breakthrough, we have so much mobility. Like, one of the things that you got out of warfare for other factions is like, now I can reach the center ring or the equidistant when I normally can't. Barony doesn't have that problem. Barony, as long as you get to build, which construction would do, then you'll still be able to do all those same things more or less. So I actually feel like, for me, warfare is taking a backseat to construction, and I'm not like super excited about either of those as a super high pick, unless there's like if you could see that there's a point you're going to score off of it, like, hey, I'll get 4 of a kind by doing warfare or something.
Right.
Knock yourself out. But if I'm not doing that, it's not a high pick for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think they are kind of doing the same end result. I think maybe what I am liking about warfare, though, is I'm imagining you're playing Barony in a particularly juicy slice with some opportunities like Garbosia or Emilpar or like stuff where it's like, listen, like, this can kind of compensate, but it's hard to go to all of these places on round 1. You know what I mean? Like, in that situation, maybe I'm down. Some sort of Diplo system where I'm like really excited about it. Actually, one that, I mean, let's just go ahead and go on to the next one, because I wonder if we're going to disagree here. I'm also, and I feel like I've been doing this a lot lately, I'm saying tech is low priority. I'm not loving it. Tech has so many problems these days, which is that on round 1 anyways. After round 1, it doesn't have problems, but there's no way I would double tech anymore. That was something we used to say about Barony. Like, they should think about double teching. I would never do that. Never do that these days. But the other thing is that, like, I can't stand and actually, okay, it's funny. The reason I keep rating it low is actually not a problem for us. But I hate going after warfare now, because warfare is the first action. Technically, that's not an issue for us.
That's a good thing for us.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
That's actually a good thing for us. So,
that is a good thing.
I agree that I'm not probably going to be double teching outside of like it scores me the point round 1 sort of thing, which there are situations where it would. Like, you could do carrier 2, destroyer 2 for unit upgrades. You could do a blue and a red to get yourself, or just 2 blues with breakthrough to get yourself the 2 and 2 colors kind of thing. Outside of that situation, I don't think I'm going to double tech anymore as Barony.
Yeah.
But what it does do is, since you're after warfare, you do your normal warfare build. You unlock your commander when that happens.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because now you have 5 ships, because warfare usually goes first action nowadays, right?
Yeah. So
you unlock your commander, and then on your turn, you can just do whatever. You can play tech, or you can move your ships out, whatever it is you're going to do. I actually think that part is pretty cool. But I'm only going to single tech if I'm taking tech. And that's probably going to be grab drive.
Yeah.
And in that way, I can maybe figure out the breakthrough with something else later, potentially. But the breakthrough you still have to solve in some way. And that's the biggest problem with taking tech, is it doesn't solve your breakthrough. But all the other things about it is actually pretty cool. And being after warfare is actually a buff for Barony specifically.
Yeah, I think I think you kind of talked me into. Okay, so let's take tech, warfare, construction, and leadership. How do we rank those? Because those are the non, the non-breakthrough ones. Those are the ones where we're not really guaranteed anything. And if we are getting our breakthrough, it could be either from spending our home system or from throwing our secret in the trash.
Yeah.
And I've ranked them like basically warfare construction and then leadership technology is like how I would think about it. But I wonder if you see it differently.
I definitely have warfare lower for me.
Yeah.
Outside of like scoring the control objective with it, I'm probably not interested in taking warfare. because construction does most of what I would want instead.
It's
so
true.
For me, I agree with you. I think trade politics are still probably 1 and 2 because they're the best ones for your breakthrough, and we care about that a lot. And they're just kind of good in general for your overall plan in the game.
Yeah.
After those, it would depend a little bit on the slice, and I'll say the nuances of the game, whether I want leadership, Diplo, or tech. But those are the 3 next in line for me. And then my last pick ends up being construction most of the time. I don't want to take Imperial. I don't usually want to take warfare most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucks that Imperial is like that we've now identified this Imperial leadership relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it would be your emergency break for the breakthrough, except for the fact that there is a player that will always benefit from it.
So here's my 2 cents on it as someone who has experimented maybe more with ditching the secret round 1 for the breakthrough, because it does give you the early benefit of now I get to tech and build plastic and get my breakthrough, but there is a real cost. In my opinion, I think it's important enough that I would do it as Barony. I have to be willing to say I'm going to take Imperial round 2. And with Barony, I definitely am willing to do it round 2, no matter what. And but if I take the Rex point, now I'm really behind on secrets if I had to ditch a secret to do that, right?
Yeah.
That's actually the situation that happened to me this weekend, by the way. I ditched my secret round 1. I took Imperial round 2 and round 3. And had 0 secrets because nobody fought me at Mechatol at all because they just kind of couldn't.
No go.
But so like it was good. I was getting points, but I was not getting secrets. So
yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I think overall a lot of it's kind of funny that we did Arborec and Barony so early in the Thunder's Edge process, because there's a lot of echoing of each other as far as logic goes in this discussion, because they both have the same situation, which is essentially they 1000% need the breakthrough. And a lot of factions, they want their breakthrough, but they're not so defined by their breakthrough that they can't survive without it, basically. Right. So I do think that it's funny because I think we hadn't even realized. Yes, this faction is for sure one of those. Yeah. So I wonder, those of you that listen to the Arborec thing, I actually feel like a lot of what we're saying right now is even better advice for how the Arborec thing would also play out. So the way we're talking about it in this context is more relevant for both of these factions than it is for a lot of others. And it's kind of funny that we went with these two. It makes sense. I think actually the audience voted for both, so it's not even our fault. It's that the audience was like, we want the ones with the really transformational breakthroughs.
They're very transformational.
Yeah, very transformational. Let's talk about tech. It's tech time, buddy. It's time to talk your favorite part. Yes, we dancing. No dancing. No dancing in Twilight Imperium. I've said it. Core tech wise, I've got 3 personally that I think these are the core tech that I would pretty much want in every single game.
Okay.
We got gravity drive, we got non-Euclidean shielding, and we got carrier 2. If I have those 3, I know I'm doing a good job. Okay. I would love to say that the 4th tech there is X89, but we can't get it easily.
Yeah, that's
so I'm not going to include it because it's kind of outside of our wheelhouse. Yeah. But if I could have just any 4 tech, it would be those. As far as supplementals go, though, I got a lot of things I'd like to have. Geranium is like top of the list, right? Geranium's great. That's after X89. So I guess X89 is top of the list, and then Geranium. All the deep blue stuff, Fleet Log, Sling Relay, Light Wave, right? And I will say the one thing that I feel is different now about Barony as compared to how they were before when it comes to tech. Dread 2, I got no time for that. I don't care about that. Dread 2 is like dead. Dread 2 died. Yeah.
Don't care, don't need it, don't want it.
Literally doesn't do anything now.
I mean, the one thing it does is it makes you feel more confident about direct hit, which we already said we're going to allow direct hit to happen to our flagship. So we're definitely going to let it happen to our dreads too. That's just how we're going to play.
Big time.
Yeah, you'll get punished for that sometimes, but that's my recommendation. I'm hotter on Destroyer 2 than you are, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's
around.
It's so like about Barony in particular, like they're one of the factions why I'm so hot for it, because they have the bonus fleet pool. So you can have the extra destroyers
always include
easier.
them. Yeah.
And you have the blue and red right away. And the other thing, the reason I really like it is it's actually in a lot of the games I play, it's actually one of the first techs I research.
Oh, wow.
Destroyer 2. Yeah.
Okay, that's a little surprising, actually.
Yeah. So, like, if I think I have a path to the fracture to get there first, there's the 2-planet system on the edge, Lethe Phlegathon.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the deal is they've got carrier and I think it's 4 fighters there. And then 2 planets with just a single infantry. So like Barony, if you get Destroyer 2, you're real good at winning that fight because your Destroyer 2 will chew through a couple of their fighters. The other ships will win the rest of the space combat. And then in the ground, each one of your infantry becomes a mech. Your mech will probably beat their infantry. Boom. You're going to get 4 influence, which we talked about influence being a problem for us.
Yep.
And you're going to get 2 relics because they're relic planets. So like, because of that system specifically, my plan going into a lot of games is I want to get into the fracture into that system first. And Destroyer 2 is my ticket to winning that combat easier than most other people. And in fact, in the game I played, there was a Last Bastion player who tried to do it first. And they lost in space. But I had no problem with it because by the time I went there, I had like 3 Destroyer 2s and a carrier, and like it was a simple combat for me. So
I love this. I love this for I didn't try this, but I love this, and I think that you really got to be listener. You better be listening to him on that because one of your advantages is not just that Gravleash gives you 3 movement, like that's cool, but you have it on round 1, which means on round 2. You could do this move, which is kind of early compared to a lot of our competitors that are going to be going. I mean, it's really just, it's Cabal could beat you there, but Cabal doesn't have Destroyer 2.
Right.
And they lose that fight a lot of the time round 2, where I don't know what it's going to take, but I think there's going to, whenever it comes Cabal time, I think one of the things that at least I'm going to be thinking about is how important is it for me to actually wait till round 3 to go into the fracture, to actually wait for me to build up a larger fleet? Because so many times I've seen Cabal really goof it on the round 2 going into the fracture thing. But with Destroyer 2 and your Barony, I mean, I could see this. I mean, and obviously you don't have to do it round 2. But my point is that you could. That this is something that's on the table for you. That's just kind of not really much of anything.
So a very small but realistic fleet that you could have doing this round 2 is like you could be like 2 Destroyer 2s in a carrier and a couple fighters.
That's sick. Yeah,
and then two infantry, 1 for each planet. Right. That is a cheap fleet that I just discussed.
Yeah,
that you could very easily have off of Warfare. Right. That goes to whatever system has your Ingress token. And that fleet can go all together, move into Lethe Phlegathon, and you'll probably win that a lot of the time. Your destroyer, your carrier, your fighter, that's 3 ship types, right? So your carrier is hitting on a 6. I think I got that right.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
use your agent. Don't forget about that agent
and your agent.
There
and
you
your
go.
Destroyer 2, knocking out a couple fighters ahead of time. Like that's a fight you win very, very often.
That's a lot of dice you're rolling round 1. In order for you to lose that, the devil would have to know your name, you know?
and so that's kind of like the main system why I like it so much. But like, even if you don't get into that, like if you're going for Mechatol round 2 and you're going as the Imperial player, not the leadership player,
Right.
Your Destroyer 2 makes it a lot easier, because a lot of times people go in there with like a carrier, maybe a fighter or two. They're not bringing a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And so your Destroyer gives you that little extra punch that you can probably just take it and win the space combat there too.
Also, not that people do this too often, but if someone's looking at your situation on round 2 and thinking about making their own play to stop you, a Destroyer 2 is also a functional deterrent, especially considering they probably don't have that many fighters. So they're probably going in thinking like, oh, my HP is like, it's going to be let's say they've got they're like 1 HP up on you. Let's say they have 2 fighters, 2 fighters, a carrier and a destroyer or something. They could look at it like, oh, this could end up being like a tie though, because I could go in with these 2 fighters and then they get gobbled up by the Destroyer 2. And then I'm like, well, now I'm not even making it to the ground. Like, do I really just want to lose all this plastic? And again, they don't even make the attempt. I mean, I wouldn't make that attempt. So I'd just be like, well, I guess I just got to let them have
Destroyer
the point.
2. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's a good deterrent. Like my strategy in a lot of Barony games that I've played is like, I go, especially because we talked about unlocking the commander anyway. So like carrier and a couple of destroyers, or a destroyer, boom, you got your commander unlocked. And now you've got these cheap ships that you can leverage with Destroyer 2, and it does a lot. So like sometimes I'll even do Destroyer 2 before Gravity Drive. That's how strongly I feel about it. No, I'm not saying to do that every time, like, read the board, but like it's at that level for me. That for me, the 4 core techs that I feel like I have to get is Destroyer 2, Gravity Drive, NES, Carrier 2. So we're close. I have a Destroyer 2 higher, and especially early game, I think it's a lot of punch.
Yeah. No, I like that. I always feel like it's important whenever you say something that I'm like, that I did not consider, and I wish I had considered it, because I probably would have done better in my games. Not to say I never researched Destroyer 2, that's not my point, but I should have raced for it, because you're right. The thing that I kept noticing was like, I have more movement than I need, was something that kept happening. Where it was like, I love Gravleash, but it would create these situations where I'd be like, and I would get Gravity Drive and then be like, cool, I can move 3. And it's like, well, where do I want to go that I can even move 3 right now? Sometimes it would be like, I think I could have waited for round 2. Like it could have been late round 2 and then I can move 3, But if I had decided like, oh, let's get Destroyer 2, I probably would have made more use of that in the window, right?
And the other thing is like when I played Barony this weekend, I put literally every destroyer on the board.
Yeah.
Literally every destroyer in my bag I built at one point in the game by like round 3 or something. And like they're your tugboats. We've talked about it a few times.
Yeah.
And with this punch power, they can like clear the way for your capacity ships. So I think it's very good.
I like that. You're so good at space combat, Barony. Like it's always been true, but it feels like it kind of like kicked into overdrive. You're just you're maybe the best. I mean, I guess the only comparison point I can even come up with, it would be like Winu with a lot of like more plastic than they usually have, basically. But outside of that, I think you're just kind of the best in the business on that one. But any other tech that really speak to you?
Yeah, no, you're right about Deep Blue. Fleet Log, Light Wave is great. I'll shout out War Suns because I don't do them real often. But if you're just in a slice that has a lot of resources, or if there's like an Industrix around you, you should because you have anti-mass. If you get early War Suns, you're going to get free War Suns. So like that's one of the notes I made was if Muat's in the game and you have Industrix, you should be paying a lot of money.
Oh, yummy. Yeah.
Make whatever offer you can, like just beg for it, right? Because free War Suns is going to be huge for you if you can do that. Or even Jilnar for that matter. Like I made a deal where I gave like a one-way support to Jilnar for tech this weekend, and it absolutely transformed my game. So
yeah,
it's true. Yeah. Like there's some really good ones that can make a big difference. So
yeah. I mean, I see the War Sun play. Like it's right there. All you need is a single yellow skip, and you're even just in it on your own. You don't even have to make a deal. If you just got
that's true
a yellow skip, you're making it happen. Which is which is pretty sick. And 6 resources at home. It's like normally the argument against War Sons is that we can't afford it. And it's like, well, you very easily be in a situation where it's actually quite affordable. I'm not going to pretend like every situation is going to be that way. And in fact,
not every time.
If you have that many resources, I would maybe argue that you've perhaps drafted poorly. Like if you're like, I've got 12 resources as Barony, you'd be like, all right, well, how much influence do you have, bro? Like, all right, where are we going with all this?
That is fair. I would just say, Industrix is like the big one. If you have that, it's already a red skip. You just need to find the yellow and you can get there. Boom.
Right. Well, speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about trading. Let's go over we've kind of already talked about this a little bit, but war funding, I think, is a potent note. It's not a bad promissory note. You just have to make sure to sell it. And I personally believe that if you're in a stingy situation where players don't want to buy stuff, I know that we always say like this is a better one to sell in the window. If no one's going to buy it, though, just sell it. You may as well it's no good to you in your hand.
Yep.
Just make some money off of it or some sort of favorable trade. Honestly, an RA situation where I'm like throwing it to Jolnar for RA, I think is actually, I mean, that's kind of a favorable deal to you. I'm not sure why Jolnar's cutting you such a good deal there. But I guess Jolnar knowing they have that is actually pretty potent. So I would do that deal on either side of it.
Yeah, I did make a deal with Jolnar early. I gave them like a fragment in my trade agreement for a research agreement. So like that's you definitely want tech because like they've got lots of things they can offer you that you would want. You have a shared interest in Destroyer 2, which I've already gone at length at, and Jolnar loves it too because they've got
Jolnar does love it.
The reroll thing, right?
The reroll,
that's definitely a shared interest. But honestly, even like, I mean, there's so many things Jolnar could get you that would be nice to have. If you can work out a deal for X89, that's like one of your best ones. So
that'd be sick.
I offered one-way support for X89, and I feel like both of us got a good deal on that.
If I have good tempo, I'm absolutely doing that. These days, I'm all about throwing my support away for something tangible. Especially, if I've got that good tempo going, then X89 is going to help me win the game more than your support. Your support's just going to give me that stupid 11-point tempo, and I don't need that anyway. So,
it's true. Jolnar Alliance is also pretty cool because we actually kind of lean into unit abilities a lot, at least the way that I've been playing Barony. Bombardment, AFB,
so
not
good.
So much on the space cannon, but like it sometimes comes up. It's really nice to have their alliance, and
and they could use yours pretty effectively too. Because basically, any player that has Duranium can actually get a decent amount of money out of your alliance.
Yeah,
so
Jolnar definitely. There's a mutual interest. You could maybe talk a swap out there. Yeah,
for sure. You maybe got to sweeten the pot a little bit on that one, but I think overall that's a pretty equitable trade. I will say Titans, I think, has a unique interest in your alliance, in your commander. Just because they have so much sustain that it's very easy for them to imagine ways to make quite a bit of money.
They will make a lot of money. All their cruisers sustain. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yep.
Pretty sick. We already talked about the Imperium flagship shenanigans type stuff, but even there's a less crazy version of that too, where Imperium just wants it because they're like, well, I'll do, maybe a more normal use of the flagship in order to make some extra money off of it.
I mean, for them, it's still good because forget about trying to turn it into a money-making engine. They can just be like, I kind of have infinite sustain.
Right.
Like they just like, I sustain, I make money. That's part of the money I use to repair my stuff. And then I do it again. So it makes sense. There's like a good, maybe dark pact for alliance kind of deal, maybe.
Yeah. There's so here's one that I like because one of the things that we haven't really talked about at all that I feel like can get kind of frustrating with them is I tend to because we start with 3 infantry and we're better in the sky than we are on the ground. I tend to run a little low on infantry. I don't know if this is something that you've experienced.
It came up for me. Yep.
Yeah. And I always end up wanting to get Soul's mill support a lot.
Yes.
And I'll kind of give them whatever I got to give them in order to make it happen because Like, yeah, you have a lot of production at home, so you'd think this wouldn't be that big of a problem. But the fact that you have a high need to have multiple infantry in critical spaces so that you can use Dunlane Reaper perhaps as much as possible.
Yep.
But you also care so much about being dominant in the sky, it can become really tricky deciding exactly how you want to split up your fighter and your infantry as far as like how many am I building of each, right?
Yeah.
And you're always going to want to have some fighters because that also factors into Gravleash too. And like it's another source of HP, and it's a source of HP that can't be direct hitted. That is just like, okay, I just know how much I got in the sky over there. So that can be kind of a funny thing. Also, if we're playing without X89, we haven't figured out some way around it. You might just be like, yo, I'm not even invested in the ground. It's just like if they get to the ground, they won because that's not how I'm playing this. I'm just playing in the sky.
I just defend the space with my destroyer twos and stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So in that case, mill support can be a nice little way to get a little bit of extra juice on the ground that we might need. And even honestly, it's kind of more a favorable one to them because this isn't generally a very good commander, but the sole commander of having the extra infantry that could help you use Dunlane Reaper in a situation where you weren't going to be able to.
I agree. So. I debated putting it on the here because honestly, I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah,
actually, there's a few more too that as I started thinking through it, there's actually a number of cool faction things. But I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
One of the other ones I want to point out is we talked about it briefly, but Last Bastion.
Yes.
So extra combat dice, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Extra combat dice for us, incredibly good. Because now
Gravleash, baby.
Gravleash makes it crazy. So you want to make deals with Last Bastion. Frankly, I actually missed out on this weekend because there was a Bastion player. But like all the bombardment, all the combat, it's so good for us. We definitely want
Galvanize. We're specifically talking about Galvanize here.
Galvanize, yes.
Galvanize itself, the rules for Galvanize, if you don't remember, is like you get to do an additional die on your combat rolls. So that
ability rolls.
And ability rolls. Yeah. So you get that too. The ability roll part isn't going to combo with these other things, but the fact that this is going to combo with it combos with munitions reserves. It combos with the agent. It combos with Gravleash. It's crazy.
Destroyer 2.
And Destroyer 2 as well. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot for them.
Really sick.
L1, I'm only going to point out because like we do really need tokens. I feel like most of the time when I have trade goods as Barony, I'm spending most of it on tokens anyway. So like, if I can buy cybernetics from them, I usually want to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of normal, but like you really want to try to do that if you can. We talked about Necro and the money printing stuff and the alliance there earlier. So I don't want to repeat too much, but that is definitely a thing. If they get NES, we can make a lot of money together.
Yep. That's kind of weird because it's like you don't really do a trade with them, though. It's just like you give them the alliance and then you're like, all right, well, let's just rig it now to make
basically, you give them the alliance, they give you a split of the profits as well, kind of thing. The one I want to talk more is Nomad. Nomad does so many good things for us. We talked about the potential for the NES Duranium money glitch. That's one angle. Another angle is cavalry. We talked about a little bit. It's so good for us with NES. You really want to like proactively go after it and offer them like the $1 every time that you sustain. Like you will literally pay for it if you give them $1 every time. You will literally pay for it as soon as you sustain with that cavalry. So it's so easy and you will win so many combats with it. Their commander is crazy good for us. We talked about our flagship and you're right. It's sometimes you struggle to build it because your game maybe doesn't let you do it. But like if you have the free flagship, now you really don't care about direct hit and you just throw it around and you just force project into a bunch of places.
Oh yeah. Just start fights. Yeah.
Start fights. Literally start fights. sustain, make your money, win your combat. And if they do direct hit it, oh well, I'll build another one. Like it's not a big deal. So
it's coming back.
Nomad in the game is actually a really big deal for us. But I feel like I have this come up sometimes with Nomad, where like I see the potential in certain situations, and like I feel like a lot of people in the community kind of sleep on these opportunities because it's not obvious, but like it's really good. And so like I'm so thrilled if I'm a Barony player with Nomad in the game. They can do a lot of good things for each other.
Well, maybe we rig it, and whenever we're doing Nomad research, I'll play Nomad, you play Barony, and we'll just find out on that end. You know what I mean? Like that way in the Nomad guide, we could say, hey, by the way, that thing we were stewing up in the Barony guide, we tried it out, and it's pretty awesome, from both sides. We can earnestly say, yeah, Barony wants to do this and Nomad wants to do this. Like, just make it happen, folks. There's not a reason. That's the thing that I think kind of gets to me sometimes about ride or die type like relationships, is sometimes people will do them more based off their player relationships, but there are a lot of factions that just can help each other get a leg up, and it makes sense for them to do that, basically. Yeah, I dig it. You got any others? You got any other
The last one I was going to bring up was Mentach. So because they are such a bummer for us with pillage.
Yeah, big time.
Like, you've got to offer to them, be like, look, either I don't unlock my commander, or I unlock it and give you my alliance for your promise of protection.
Yeah.
And like at that point, you've kind of mutually agreed that you're kind of not fighting each other, but then they're making a bunch of money. You get to make a bunch of money because of the promise as well. That's one. And plus, if Mentach's in the game, like their unit abilities turn off a lot of your sustain anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a promissory that you want to go after proactively as the Barony player. And I think Mentach's oftentimes going to be interested in that deal because like they have a pretty good amount of sustain stuff too. They like making the money. I think a lot of Mentach players would go for that. But
I gotta push back a little bit on that one.
Sure.
Here's I got two things that sort of triggered in my brain.
Okay.
The first is that if I'm playing, well, also actually three things. I'll start with this. I think Mentach is kind of in the wilderness right now. I'm not sure what's going on over there with them. I've seen a bunch of games with Mentach lately kind of go up in flames from afar, but I wasn't analyzing their game, so I wasn't sure why. But there just was like, oh, that didn't seem to go well.
Reason.
Okay. Yeah, I've even seen games where they had the scar, so they had mirror computing very early into round 2, and then still it's not working. Like, what could the issue be? And it just seems like maybe, I think this is just a guess, and this isn't a super educated one. Is Corsair like a trap or something? Is Corsair like actually kind of not great, and people are getting like caught up in it or something? But one of the other things is I'm not sure if I'm Mentach and I take this, I'm not sure I can trigger the sustain that much, especially if I am in the trap of Corsair, which maybe if it's a trap, then we need to get out of it. But if you get out of it, what is your unit? You're a red-yellow synergy with a red-yellow start. I mean, are we just saying War Suns? And if it's just War Suns, it's like, well, there's only 2 of those. And that is a weird one to direct hit, I guess, still. Like, I'd maybe be a little scared to sustain that often. I'm just afraid I wouldn't make use of, like, the opportunity cost of losing you as a pillage person versus how much money am I going to make off the sustain. I'm, like, afraid I won't make enough.
You won't make enough.
That would be my issue. Yeah. Okay. That would be what would scare me.
I mean, that's fair. I guess, yeah. I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole with Mentach because, like, I probably go more blue leaning than a lot of other Mentach players would.
I mean, maybe that's the only way at this point. Yeah.
I don't know that I'm necessarily right either for that. I haven't played enough Mentach, but in my head, yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense for some times, but I would, as the Barony player, I would try to make it happen. And if they say no, then so be it. Right.
Yeah. Another thing about Promise of Protection is that can be really tricky is that you might have rivals for that one. And sometimes it's not that Mentak is like, oh, I don't like the idea of this deal so much as it's like, well, they're just being courted by,
Jolnar really wants it. Hakan really wants it.
Yeah. So like if they're courted by somebody like that, then you're just sort of like, well, I mean, what am I have no counter offer. I can't except for violence. That's really it. You could extort it, maybe that's your play. Right. And maybe that's a play that Jolnar is not going to make on round 2, but maybe you could.
Maybe.
Yeah. So that's something. But yeah, good stuff. I really liked those. Those were all really good ideas for potential deals. Honestly, they were some of those ideas you were throwing out there. Was like, oh, I want to play that game. We need to play together more because I want to test out these deals. Because I don't know if you've seen me play, but I don't always get the best deals. Let's talk late game and scoring, and let's try and close this puppy up. Yeah. I feel like our game plan definitely going to follow the usual logic of go to Mechatol Rex, get your bonus point, and then go off into the Fracture. And Gravleash is going to very neatly help you achieve both of those things. It's going to help you get to Mechatol, and then very cleanly help you get to Styx afterwards. I really like, JJ, what you were saying before about like, why wait? Go into the Fracture and take those other planets too. And I don't think I really talked about that much as a thing for Arborec because the way they sort of creep is quite a bit slower.
They're slower. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this is exactly the kind of speedy that I like to see. And I think it's for sure do it. Oh my God. For sure go in and take especially the Fleethy Legathon one with the fighters and carrier. Because you can absolutely annihilate that. So I think those are worth considering. I think we basically have a pretty straight up and down, easy path into winning the game with the big gap of X89. So if the other players figure out a way to beat us in the sky, then them being able to finding someone that can beat us on the ground is not that hard to imagine. So I think your goal here would be to get things done about a round earlier than most factions do, as far as the Fracture is concerned. So trying to go to Mechatol Rex round 2, getting your bonus point cleared away, getting to Styx on round 3, those are all, I think, critical things you can do to sort of like make it feel a little more secure. This is like one faction that it actually occurred to me. I didn't actually get to test this, but it actually occurred to me that going to Styx and getting a space dock there would be really choice if I just decided to sort of speed for it. You know, you got to have a lot of plastic that is making it to Styx on like round 3. And then you get the space dock down in round 4 is when you build, right? Like it's not, easy.
I've seen a few factions that have managed to do this. Probably the most successful one I've seen was like a Yin player who did something like that because they don't have to activate it to do that. But there are some other factions that could maybe do it as well. Yeah, I think round 3 and putting a space dock is realistic. They could potentially do it.
Yeah.
The Styx fight itself is a little harder. I think you probably need NES most of the time, unless you just have like a ton of plastic. But like, it is doable round 3.
Yeah. One thing that is kind of interesting about Barony as compared to other factions that we've talked about in terms of go to Mechatol Rex and then go to Styx is I think with Barony more often you're getting reinforcements from elsewhere. It's not the Mechatol Rex fleet that is going up into the Fracture because you're not as self-sustaining.
But others can also go too.
Yes. So hopefully you have, not just the Mechatol Rex Ingress, but like other, perhaps a system where you have a forward dock and then an Ingress above it. That's like an equidistant or right in front of your home system. And then from there, those ships are going to have a pretty easy time getting in there and making a difference and locking the game down.
Yeah. Also worth pointing out, like if you just get to the Fracture in the first place, like once you're on the edge, whether it's the 2-planet or 1-planet system, that 3 movement is all you need. Like your base 2 plus grab drive already takes you to sticks. So if you don't get to the 2-planet system, if you get to the 1-planet system and you put like a space dock down there and build more stuff to get more plastic ready and positioned, then you could use that plastic the following round to go and take sticks and like warfare in with another build or something maybe.
Yeah. Just watch your opponents. Like watch like who's going to get, if you don't get there first, who's going to be there, you know? Yeah. And as long as that's not somebody horrible, like Crimson is a great example actually. Like you'd want to get there. I actually just don't even really know what you would do about Crimson, to be honest. I'm actually not even sure there is an answer.
It's Destroyer 2, I guess, and hope you got enough of them that you can. No, you can't do Destroyer 2.
Yeah, you can't do Destroyer 2. I mean, literally, they just turn you off.
Yeah. No, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's
and they're faster than you. Like they're just good at all the things that you are. Like I just think they're kind of. I feel bad. One of the semifinals, there was a Barony and a Crimson together because I hadn't really thought about this. Well, I mean, I thought about it, but I hadn't realized to the extent that it is.
How oppressive it is.
Yeah, it's super oppressive. You want to avoid them like the plague. They are bad news for you. And I'd love to say that there's some sort of play there, but there just really isn't. Like if they have their flagship somewhere, where they have their what are they called? What are their things called? Breach
tokens.
Yeah. If they're somewhere with a breach, then that's kind of game over for you unless you can somehow pop the flagship.
Got to kill the flagship somehow.
But I mean, if the flagship isn't like, let's say if the flagship is the thing at sticks which is likely the best way to do it,
right? Then
you're just like, well, okay, then I guess nothing.
Now what?
Yeah, now literally nothing.
Yeah.
So that's tricky. I don't really have an answer to that. Yeah. But I mean, the good news is that's just one faction. And with everybody else, they're going to struggle to beat you in the sky. Maybe on the ground, there's a lot of factions that could answer to you. But you know, in the sky, it's not. It's no contest.
For sure. To reiterate it again, in the battle for sticks, X89 is your enemy. You're not going to win if it gets to the ground. There will be probably somebody else who has it at that point.
Yeah.
You need to win in the sky. And so if you can't win in the sky, you're probably in trouble.
And I think overall, as far as victory point analysis, I would say it's actually not so bad now, because it used to be that I would say that Barony was just kind of bad at all categories. Like they don't like economic points, which is a shame because that's the easiest category. And they still don't. Like I wouldn't say that you find those easy. They're still hard, but again, they're the easiest category. So it's kind of, if you're going to be bad at something, maybe that one's kind of okay to be bad at. But because of Gravleash, you can't argue that we're bad at control objectives anymore. Right. So we have a clear opportunities there. I pretty much like any action phase besides turn fleets to dust, which nobody really likes. So that doesn't even really count. I'd say in general, I just feel pretty good. I mean, tech objectives are easy. Our synergy makes it a lot easier than it is for, I mean, we start with 2 tech. We have good synergy. So tech is no problem. Control is no problem. A lot of things are actually looking pretty good outside of the danged old economy stuff, which can, of course, be, fixed by either making good deals, and that's not like we had some ideas. There's definitely some play here, or having a good slice, and perhaps maybe even taking a choice equidistant. The juiciest of your 2 equidistants, maybe that one should belong to Barony. That would be my guess.
I've seen it a bunch of times. I mean, there's also just the taking someone's home system round 2. If you want to be that player,
you can do that.
You probably can do it.
Yeah,
you probably can do it.
Extortion is an actual play and not just some weird power fantasy that people are having. There is an argument for it making sense. It's really, it should have been like this the whole time, but they needed the movement, and now they have it. L1 and Barony are the two factions that still have the ongoing argument of extortion is strategy. And I don't know if there's a third. Those two, I think, still have it because of their natural abilities. But
there's maybe a few, but maybe a SAR, right?
Maybe a SAR, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I feel like if a SAR is doing that, though, I always feel like I'm like, why don't you just play the game? Like, you could also just play the
normal game of
part.
Going for Mechatol and all those other things we just talked about.
Yeah. Don't you have like points you need to score? Come
on. No,
that's
that's true. It's true. And SAR is really good at those too. So
yeah. But yeah, Barony and L1, they can go make a play against somebody else and survive and still win their game, and still focus on scoring. And yeah, so at any point, if you're playing Barony and you're hitting one of the pitfalls here, which there's not a whole lot, but they're there. There's not a perfect faction. I think you should consider pulling that lever. All right, you have that as an option.
The other one I'll point out is like Malice. It doesn't always come out, but it's a really good planet for Barony in particular. It solves influence. A lot of your problems, influence and money both. So it's another good one to consider.
Yeah,
and there's not as much competition for it anymore.
Right,
and it's like a central staging point where if you do want to do this whole extorting thing, like you can set up a bunch of ships there and then figure out something later. So
yeah, I like that. That's very good. So I mean, conclusion wise, I feel like Barony's been transformed. They've been given a Swiss Army knife of a breakthrough, and it's beautiful days for them. I'll go ahead and say, actually, so if Arborek and Barony are both sitting in the most improved category, which do you feel like has the stronger claim to being good at the game overall now, Arborek or Barony?
To me, they're pretty similar as far as where I view them now, which is to say that in a lot of pools of factions, I would put them somewhere around the third best faction. When I played in the semis, actually both factions were in my semifinals game.
Yeah.
The Barony and I were probably the two factions that had the best chance at winning, honestly.
Yeah.
At the end game, it was the two of us that were fighting for sticks. The Barony players struggled a little bit on token economy more than I did. I think for myself, I probably prefer Barony still a little bit because I'm a big Destroyer 2 believer.
Yeah. Well, you made a good argument for it today.
They're both very good at fractured play and Mechatol and all the things we've talked about, and they are improved a lot. So honestly, either of them would be good. So
yeah. I like that you said that because I think I'm very much in agreement, but I think I just lean a little bit Arborek. There's something about removing the token that feels it's very freeing. Good. Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah. There's just so many. It's like,
and maybe options.
Yes. Barony is, maybe I shouldn't have even characterized it as a Swiss Army knife because honestly, the Arborek thing is more Swiss Army knife. This is like, we could be using this to do all kinds of things. The Barony thing is like, they have a hammer, basically. Yeah. And it's good at hitting nails big time.
Yeah.
It will really hit a nail. Well, thank you so much, JJ, for joining me today for our Barony of Letnev talk. I feel very satisfied. I feel like we did it. I feel like we nailed it. We hammered it. All right. It's been a while since we've done the we've nailed it thing. All right. I think we nailed this one. I've been feeling good on these guides. And this one, I'm like, I always feel good when I bring my stuff and I'm like, here are my ideas. And then you come up with some stuff that I'm like, I would have never thought about it like that in a million years. All right. You have upgraded the trading and meta aspect of these guides by, I would say, about tenfold, essentially, because you live in a world where you do deals, and that's very important.
You just got to make deals. You just got to be making deals with people, Hunter. I don't know. Not everything's $1. You can make your deals.
I stopped doing that. Okay, I haven't been doing the dollar thing.
No,
you're right.
I
put it aside.
You're right. You're right. But yeah, like there's a lot of opportunity. I'd say for me, and part of the reason why I'm having a lot of fun, but also why, part of it is translating into win sometimes is like I see opportunity and I go for it. And, right now it's a good time to just be looking for opportunity. If you see a potential to go for it, make it happen. See if you can do something weird. So
you're a real prospector,
Yeah. I see the potential and I go for it.
Yeah. You're like, you're looking at it and you're like, there's gold in them hills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's gold in them hills.
There is.
There's gold in them hills. There's gold in them hills.